Chapter 1181. Very good. You don't lower your head in the face of difficulties. You have the spirit of daring. You treat obstacles as stepping stones and move forward step by step, just like ants. Xiao Bei's voice sounded on the newly paved road. In fact, the road was not uneven at all. They walked according to the terrain of the mountain. It was not that they pushed down a mountain in front of them. They just cut down the trees on the road and removed the thorns and bushes. As for the flowers and grass, they just needed to cover them with sand and stones. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao also praised them slightly. The cooperation ability of the logistics camp in Izhou was still very strong. It was not a small amount of work to cover 20 miles in 4 hours with manpower and animals. But it was not a big deal. They paved the road quickly because there were more people and animals. Each section was 5 meters wide and 500 meters long. There were 200 people working on each section. On average, each person was responsible for 5 meters. It was just a bit tiring to finish the work in 4 hours. Moreover, they were specially trained and were skilled workers. If it was mechanized, there would be more than 20 bulldozers in sections. The trucks transporting sand and stones behind could keep up. They could push 20 miles in half an hour. All the workers added up would not need more than 200 people. After all, the trees did not grow close to each other. Chang Hu did not care about Xiao Bei. Even though Xiao Bei was also an official and many people trembled when they saw him. However, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came. They were the most important people to deal with. Walking with them on the road, Chang Hu introduced them excitedly. Now there are more than 6,000 people in the logistics camp in Izhou. Usually when they are free, they gather together to eat and chat. They always have common topics. For example, how to remove a 1 foot thick and 3 feet tall black brick, how to make it easier to build a bridge, or to fill a ditch that is 6 steps wide and 2 people deep. Once you think about it, you will find that it is full of tricks. Let's talk about pushing a wall. In the past, people dug at the root and pulled at the top. Later, we found that the wall fell faster when we cut a wedge from the bottom of the other side. It is also more comfortable when we push hard. Daily production can't be stopped either. Zhang Xiaobao nodded as he listened and added. Yes, we haven't. The logistics battalion's main job is to accept outside work such as building houses, digging cellars, repairing bridges and paving roads, destroying forests and farming fields, building shelves, filling pits and leveling ditches. Let's put it this way, we accept all the work related to logistics, and we don't bargain. We'll do it as long as we're paid, and we promise to do it well. Our only requirement is that we provide enough food. As Chang Hu spoke, he kept pointing at this person and that person. They were all capable people. When Zhang Xiaobao heard this, the first thing that came to his mind was not the training of the logistics camp's professional skills. Instead, he felt sorry for the people around him. With a large number of good laborers who did not bargain, what kind of impact could they have on the labor market? Wang Wan considered the living standards in the stronghold and asked, is the income on the mountain still acceptable? Acceptable, too acceptable. All the strongholds worked together and reported how much they hunted. Then they contacted the merchants who bought the furs and game. We set the price, so if any stronghold dares to change the price without permission, we'll let them go. Later on, the grafted fruits were the same. For example, oranges, which were the size of a fist, foreign merchants wanted to buy them. You can ask any stronghold, and they'll give you the same price. We won't be bullied and cheated like before. Speaking of which, we have to thank Brother Zhong. Back then, it was Brother Zhong who let us know that the price of the things we sold was lowered. When Chang Hu talked about this, he seemed very happy. His beard was curling up and down. Father, you should say Brother Yongcheng. Loyalty is a name, and foster father's courtesy name is Yongcheng. Why don't we just say Brother Zhang? Chang Hu's son, Zhang Gang, reminded him. Chang Hu slapped the back of Zhang Gang's head and laughed. That's right, Yongcheng. My little brat is still the most knowledgeable. He can't be wrong to be with Xiaobao and Cuckoo. You've become a high-ranking official. If I wasn't your father, I would have to kneel to you. Governor and is a high-ranking official, but I don't see you kneeling to him. Zhang Gang rubbed his head and said after being slapped. What kind of official is he? Xiaobao, Do you think the people in the imperial court are stupid? They sent him to be the governor, and he actually told us that it's called following the rules of Xiao and Chow Chow. Who do you think Chow Chow can follow? Chang, who complained again when he mentioned governor, and Zhang Xiaobao was stunned, but then he understood. After thinking for a while he said, "Indeed, Chow Chow can't follow Xiao He, so governor and can only follow my father's footsteps." "Father, it's not Chow Chow, it's Chow Can," Zhang Gang reminded him. Chang, who slapped the back of his son's head and laughed. "Yes, Chow Can. My son is still the smart one." Zhang Gang rubbed his head and looked at brother Xiaobao with eyes full of admiration. At first, he thought that brother Xiaobao didn't understand, but now he understood. Brother Xiaobao was really smart. He knew that brother Xiaobao would be slapped after correcting him. Wang Wan pursed her lips and smiled, then asked again. "Uncle, are the people in the mountains eating, drinking, and wearing better clothes than before?" "We won't be staying for a few days this time. The main reason is to give Duosher time to react. If you have any difficulties, tell us. Xiao Bao and I will try our best to think of a solution." "Difficulties? There really are. The children's school has been built in all the villages, and it's much better than before. However, the villages are far from each other, and it's inconvenient for the children to walk. They're afraid of being eaten by animals, so they're all placed in the city. They eat and live there, and when the family thinks about it, they go down the mountain to take a look. But there are more children, and there are fewer people teaching them. Scholars are not willing to come here. The weather is not good, and it's also remote. It's not easy to go outside. I know that the people outside despise us. Even if we have money and manage the ski resort, we can still hunt, fur, and game. The people outside see us differently after all. Take Izhou, which is located in Chengdu, as an example. An ordinary teacher can only get 700 copper coins a month. Our stronghold offers 2 strings of cash and countless other things, but no one wants to come. Last autumn, I said that I would give away a tiger pelt, and one finally came. After getting the tiger pelt, he disappeared in less than 2 months. How can a scholar say that he's unreasonable? Father, you didn't keep your word." "That's right, my son is very capable. Right now, most of the people teaching the children in the city are people sent by your family to take care of things. Whenever they have time, they teach the children. There are also the waiters from the Shuiyun Tavern in the city. They take shifts to rest before coming over to teach the children. Then there are the 6 people you can count with your fingers. 4 of them are old, and don't even have the status of a high scholar. The other 2 are young people who came to visit last summer, and didn't go back. Why don't you send them to the capital? We'd rather be farther away. We won't see each other for a year or 2. It's better than being delayed. Brother Zhong, oh brother Yongcheng, you can take care of them in the capital. Hey Yongcheng, look at how good my son is." As soon as Chang Hu finished speaking, Zhang Gang was slapped again. This time he really didn't make a sound. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan listened to Chang Hu's words, which were simple and full of hope, and sighed. Xiao Bei, who was also listening, couldn't take it anymore. Who would be so shameless as to run away after cheating a tiger pelt? Once the arrest warrant is sent out, the 9 of us, oh no, 10 patrol inspectors want to catch him. Does he still have the integrity of a scholar? Does he still have the integrity of a scholar? Learning from the saints and doing dirty things, without killing to appease the anger of the people, without killing to appease my heart. Brother Xiaogang, am I right? Yes, it's just a tiger pelt. How can it be compared to human skin? Getting a pelt and losing a pelt, how lazy. Zhang Gang was also angry. My son is right, but forget it, it's my village's fault for not being capable. Sanshui County is considered remote compared to the capital. Many people will go there, and they won't run away even if we don't give them the tiger pelt. Let's go, there's a road up ahead. It was built 2 years ago to send charcoal. There are also bamboo and wooden houses next to it for people to rest. There are many wild animals in the mountains. Chang Hu shook his head and changed the topic. His son continued to rub his head. No, we have to catch him. It's not a matter of a tiger pelt. It's very simple for us to forgive him. He's just a person, and I think it's not easy. But if we let him go so easily, doesn't it mean that others can learn from him? Raise your hands to vote. Xiao Bei refused to give up and raised his hand first. Xiao Yuan, who was being stared at by him, also raised his hand. Needless to say, the other children all raised their hands. If it was in private, there might be children who disagreed. But now, in front of so many people, they had to advance and retreat together. Even if they were wrong, they could make up for it later. Not to mention catching a person. Even if Xiao Bei said that he was going to kill someone, the whole family had to support him. Xiao Bei's suggestion was passed with one person absent, and the other 9 voting in favor. Chang Hu and Wei Wei paused and turned to look at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, implying that they should persuade the children. There was no need to keep an eye on one person. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were indifferent. Seeing that Chang Hu kept hinting with his eyes, Zhang Xiaobao said, "Uncle, they are the patrol inspectors of the Tang Empire. Logically speaking, Cuckoo and I are not in charge of them. This time, Cuckoo and I are only in charge of their meals and education. We won't affect their administration. First, we need to solve the problem of the lack of teachers. I will write a memorial and ask His Majesty to add a rule for the imperial examinations. All those who want to participate in the imperial examinations or students who want to take the imperial examinations must teach for at least a year in a place. The more remote the place is, the more points will be added. I will first send people to support the school in Izhou. It will be fine if there are others in the future. We are relieved that you sent people. I suddenly thought of something. Just like what you said, aren't you afraid that someone will fake it? He obviously didn't teach the children and used other means to make the school prove that he taught them. Chang Hu was not knowledgeable, but his EQ was not bad. What does it have to do with us? If they fake it, the patrol inspectors will be in charge. If the patrol inspectors make mistakes, the censorate and Supreme Court will be in charge. If they make mistakes, the Tang Empire's patrol inspectors will be in charge. That is Xiao Bei and the others. If Xiao Bei makes a mistake, it will be my and Cuckoo's turn to say, Xiao Bao explained. Chang Hu realized that he was back to square one, and was not in the mood to continue arguing. He nodded vigorously, and hoped that the teachers would be in place soon. Xiao Bei solved one problem and said, "There is also the provincial governor with the surname. Even if Izhou is remote, the provincial governor is still a 4th-rank official. How can we mess around? Even if we don't expect him to develop, he shouldn't be corrupt. A 4th-rank official can participate in the Imperial Court Assembly in the capital. When I meet him, I will ask him what he thinks." Speak of the devil. As soon as Xiao Bei finished speaking, there was a call from the front. I am late. Let me go. I am the provincial governor of Izhou. Chapter 1182. My son, the person shouting in front is surnamed, and Chang Hu had not seen the person, but he was certain just by hearing the voice. Let him come over. Let's take a look. Zhang Gang was already standing 5 steps away from his father. He ordered the people around him and moved 2 steps forward. He was probably afraid of being beaten again. Not long after, a person quickly walked over. He was wearing a 4th-rank official's robe and an official's hat. There was a silver fish pouch on his waist. He walked with vigor and vigor. When the little guys saw the person, they were stunned. He was very different from what they had imagined. They had thought that he would be fat, yellow, and overindulgent. They did not expect that this person had a face full of righteousness and a well-proportioned body. The first impression he gave was that he was shrewd and capable. He did not seem to match what Chang Hu had said earlier. It was very contradictory. What was going on? The person stopped in front of them and glanced at the people in front of him. He solemnly clasped his hands and bowed. This official greets the Bohai provincial governor and the Tang patrol inspector. I have been busy with trivial matters recently, and am late to welcome you. I hope you can forgive me. As his voice fell, he smiled warmly at Chang Hu. Brother Chang, are you still in good health? Chang Hu curled his lips and half-heartedly returned the greeting. It's still the same. No one has come to torment our stronghold. We are doing well. You have lost weight. Brother Chang is right. I have disturbed you a few days ago. Please forgive me. Lost weight. Others have said so as well. Losing weight makes one stronger. Accompanying the people in the county in the spring plowing and working all day long, they have succeeded in losing weight. Pigs are slaughtered when they are fat. Officials who are fat also do not benefit. Provincial governor and was still smiling warmly. Chang, who carefully looked at the other party and nodded. Indeed. No wonder you dare to come. You are not fat, otherwise you will really be slaughtered. My children have returned today, and you want to find 100 people to drink in the stronghold? I wouldn't dare. I've been muddle-headed during those days, and I've harmed many people. My heart is filled with guilt, and I don't have the face to bring up the matter of drinking again. I've decided to change and do things honestly in the future. Please believe me this time. The provincial governor surnamed and said solemnly with an apologetic expression. Not only were Xiaobei and the others confused, but Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also confused. Chang, who was even more confused. He looked around at the people in the strongholds in Yizhou Mountain, and saw that they were all at a loss. They all wondered what had happened to Governor Tang and had he been possessed by a ghost. Scratching the back of his neck, Chang Hu took a step forward and circled around Governor and, after a while, he stood in front of the other party and stared straight into the other party's eyes. He could only see the sincerity and clarity in the other party's eyes. Governor and, you just said that you are busy with the spring plowing in a county. Which county are you in? Chang, who really didn't want to believe that the person in front of him was the same governor, and who couldn't accomplish anything but spoiled everything. In Wenshan County. This year, the chives in Wenshan County will be harvested 1 month later than in other places. We plan to use a new technology before the second harvest to prevent the chives from sprouting too early. We plan to take advantage of the time difference. At the same time, we will introduce a large number of special dishes to increase the local income. I am helping out in the local area and have a good chat with the deputy county magistrate, Gong Sun Moyu. Governor and still looked serious, which made people feel that he was an upright and kind official who was willing to work for the people wholeheartedly. Chang, who felt helpless and tried to dissuade him. Don't my governor, you'd better stay in Wenshan County. Everything is fine in Yizhou. We will definitely give you the full rent and tribute. We are really scared and can't afford to suffer. Please let us go. One chance, just one chance. Don't occupy too many vegetable fields. I will try this year. If it doesn't work, I will apply for a transfer next year. With a pleading look in his eyes, Ani cupped his hands and bowed again, scaring Chang Hu into retreating. Nearby, Xiaobei discussed with a few others and asked, "What are you going to plant in the vegetable fields? Speaking of which, I should give you a chance. It is easy to kill one, but difficult to save one. Killing one eliminates evil, but saving one adds good. In between, good is two. Give me a reason." Hearing Xiaobei's words, Ani was scared and excited. If it were someone else who condemned him, it would be difficult for them to kill him. However, it was easy for a group of children to kill him. The punishment of whipping was not a problem at all, but it was 5 times worse. They could even wipe out the whole family. Although His Majesty gave the officials such a great power to not expect that they would not be killed if they deliberately made mistakes, and to tell them that they should think twice before making a mistake. There was also a group of people who could disregard the national law and take their lives at any time. However, the officials who were arrested felt wronged. Forcing himself to calm down, and he lowered his head and answered, "I want to plant wild vegetables in the inferior vegetable fields in the province. There are many trees in the mountains. When the weather is cold, they can be burned to drive away the cold. When frost comes, they can be smoked to keep the wild vegetables growing. In the cold winter, the skiers will have a delicious meal. All the money will be used to compensate for my past crimes. Is that okay?" After speaking, Ani did not dare to look at Xiaobei and the others. He was afraid that they would misunderstand his purpose or not believe what he said. The most important thing now was not to quibble, but to admit his guilt. "Is this technique okay?" Xiaobei asked after discussing with the others. "Yes. Then why not plant other vegetables?" Xiaobei asked again. "Because other vegetables are not good. We have to find a vegetable to plant, so we can only plant chives. The prefectural city of Yizhou has the conditions to use greenhouses, but Yizhou has been corrupted by me and no longer has the ability to do so. Chives have already been planted in Wenshan County." And he finished and sighed. Okay, I agree. Let's try it. Uncle, what do you think? Xiaobei agreed and turned to ask Changhu for his opinion. Changhu did not care what an E did as long as he did not cause trouble for the stockade. He nodded and agreed. An E breathed a sigh of relief again. Even if he did not do well, he did not have to worry about being killed. Everyone walked together. An E fell behind slightly and followed step by step. He did not dare to overtake the front, nor did he dare to run too far away. At the same time, he was worried that he would not be able to answer if asked about the situation in the prefecture. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not intend to ask an E about the situation in the prefecture. The local people would naturally give them detailed data. They would have to wait for Governor and to report to them. After passing through the temporarily built road, the road ahead was connected to the main road. It was wide enough for 2 carriages to pass side by side. The road was flat and could be considered a main road in this place. It could not be compared to Chang, and nor could it be compared to Sanshui County. Shu Road was difficult to travel on. The current era was better than the era they came from. At that time, the railway was well built, but there were always cars that overturned on the road. The main reason was that the people did not have the money to build it themselves. The merchants could not do such a good thing, and the government was not willing to increase the investment. It was not proportional to the output. Unlike Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan several years ago, they began to coax and cheat the local merchants to support them. They spoke well, but in the end the merchants lost money. If it had been someone else who cheated them like this, the merchants would have been angry. They held back for the sake of Zhang Xiaobao. Fortunately, they gave compensation later. The new technology was given priority and arranged to go to Japan to make money and torment the Japanese. The 2 of them could make the investment proportional to the output. Because it was used to fight, and then plunder various resources and slaves, the slaves could contribute enough and give their descendants the identity of a citizen of the Great Tang. It was the same as some things in the development of North America. The group walked all the way. After noon there were more and more people. They found an open place in the village to set up a pot and cook. The villagers came out one after another to give them things. No matter what, they did not want money. Zhang Xiaobao had to use other things he had brought to exchange. Both sides were happy. They raised their cups and drank. They were happy and harmonious, laughing and talking without end. No one paid attention to an E. Provincial governor and looked on enviously from the side, imagining that he would govern the provincial capital well. When he left, he would take the Wanman umbrella with the people's handprints. When he came here again someday, the people would be willing to give him all the food in their homes. Only then would his life not be in vain. After the meal, the villagers could not bear to see them off. They followed them for 5 li and still did not return. They persuaded them to stop, and then sent them off with tears in their eyes. When they disappeared at the end of the road, they returned. The group continued on, and reached the fork in the road leading to the provincial capital of Wing Province. That year, when they came, Xiaobei and the others were in the house. Just as Bigu and the other old men said, they could see whether Zhang Xiaobao and the Wang family had new technology. They just had to keep an eye on the little guy's house. Brother, sister, we suddenly thought of something. We don't know if we should say it. Xiaobei suddenly said to his brother and sister when they reached the fork in the road. You shouldn't say it. Zhang Xiaobao answered very straightforwardly. Xiaobei was stunned. He chuckled and said, we want to go to Wenshan County first to see that deputy county magistrate with the surname too. If he is really capable, it would be a pity to be a deputy county magistrate. Anyway, we are going to rest in Wing Province. We can come back from Wenshan County later. You, who is it? Right, provincial governor, and please come with us. I am willing to go with you, but in the province? Ani meant that he wanted to go back to the provincial capital of Wing Province. He wanted to take this opportunity to ask Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to help him put in a good word with the local people. He had really harmed the local people. If he did not change his image, he was afraid that no one would cooperate with him to grow mountain vegetables. Xiaobei stared at him and said, the government does not need you. Your most important task now is to come with us. Otherwise, humph. Yes, yes, I will go with you. Ani did not dare to say anything else. Thus they separated. Xiao Bei and the rest led their guards and servants towards Wen Mountain. And Yi was secretly thankful that he had helped out in Wenshan County for a period of time. Otherwise he probably wouldn't have been able to make it here alive. From here to Wen Mountain, it was a distance of several dozen li. The group continued to climb over the mountains. After midnight, they finally arrived at the place at the middle of the moon. Xiao Bei and the group of children had long been carried on poles and covered with blankets to sleep. They did not eat dinner. They were woken up when they arrived at the place, intending to eat until the night. The others in the group were also tired. They did not want to disturb others in the county. They stopped at the outskirts and set up their tents. When the big pot of food was ready, a portion of them hurriedly ate and then lay down to sleep. A portion of them were half full and closed their eyes. The other portion only drank hot soup and then continued their duties. When Xiao Bei and the other 9 people were woken up, a large bowl of stew was placed in front of each of them. There were also a few small salted vegetables and 2 cold steamed buns. We're here? It's really uncomfortable to sleep on the road. It looks like it's going to be a sunny day tomorrow. There's too much dew. It's humid. Let's eat. It smells so good. You left us so much lean meat. Thank you. Xiao Bei said happily as he broke off a steamed bun and soaked it in the stew. The other children also worked hard to eat. The steamed bun is cold. And he had eaten as well. He was afraid that he did not have the qualifications to eat with Xiao Bei and the others. However, he found that Xiao Bei and the others were eating the same as everyone else, so he reminded them. I know. I don't see us soaking it in the soup. We should make a portion especially for the patrol inspectors. You should be the one to do it. Who isn't tired at this time? Even Uncle Emperor has to eat the big pot of food in front of us. What? Provincial governor is used to eating delicacies. Is it hard to swallow cold steamed buns and stew? Should I have someone cook a few delicious dishes for you? That way, you can evaluate the culinary skills of my chef between the clouds and the water. Xiao Bei asked with a concerned expression. The provincial governor shook his head repeatedly. I don't dare. Lend me 100 guts. It's delicious. I have never eaten such delicious stew in my life. He was frightened. Didn't he hear that Uncle Emperor also wanted to eat? Besides, the stew was really good. Although it looked simple, the taste was definitely not bad. Xiao Bei ate a steamed bun. When he stopped to rest, he asked an Yi, who was waiting there and did not dare to rest. Tell me about that deputy county magistrate Gongsun or something. While we are at it, we can talk about the more powerful county magistrate. Good. Speaking of deputy county magistrate Gongsun, he is really extraordinary. As a deputy county magistrate, he suppressed the county magistrate and the registrar. He has a lot of power in Wenshan County. He can decide everything in Wenshan County with just one word. The bailiffs and the people all listen to him. When he is on the road, he must walk at the front. When he is in the hall, he must be in the middle. He has been in office for a year and a half. Under the circumstances of tax reduction and tax exemption, the county's revenue has increased by more than 10 times. The people have benefited even more. There are local nursery rhymes as proof. It says, how much do you know about Wenshan County? It is difficult for a young man to marry outside. The produce of the land cannot be sent. The salt and cloth cannot be bought. Since Gongsun came here, the blue sky is 3 feet high and the wind is beautiful. Selling to buy to gather money, he is not MOU, but do you? And he said with a face full of worship. So crazy? Xiao Bei was surprised. If he is a little more powerful, he will be able to catch up with my brother and sister. Chapter 1183. Xiao Bei, who was full, waited for the child to continue sleeping. He wanted to have enough energy to face Gongsun Moyu and see why he was so capable. And he was also exhausted. He shivered from the cold wind outside. He found a tent and laid down, thinking about things. He secretly rejoiced that he had worked hard recently and trained his body. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to hold on. The result would be the same whether he died of exhaustion from following the team or couldn't keep up halfway. The next day, when the sun rose, it was indeed a sunny day. All kinds of birds chirped in the mountains, looking for insects that woke up early and didn't sleep in. The sun shone down from the top of the mountain, reflecting the dewdrops on the leaves into a dazzling scene. A few clouds flew into the distance. The scenery was really good. Xiaobei helped the children wash up. Looking at the beautiful scenery, he frowned slightly, clearly unhappy. Ani, who had only slept for half the night, had dark circles under his eyes. When they were waiting for breakfast, he went to the group of inspectors and took a deep breath. He slowly exhaled and praised, "Beautiful, really beautiful. The mountains are green. The water is clear, the grass is green, the flowers are red, the clouds are blue, and the birds are singing in the wind. What do you think?" "Nothing." Xiao Yuan took out his binoculars and looked back and forth. He came in a hurry last night and couldn't see clearly in the dark. Now that he saw the scenery, he was worried. "Is it not good?" Ani put away the smile on his face and asked cautiously. Xiao Yuan put down his binoculars and said, "What we want to see is smoke rising in spirals, bustling, endless traffic, horses neighing, market noises, dogs barking and chickens crowing. For example, Sanshui County. Before entering the county, you can feel the liveliness. No matter where you go, you won't feel cold. You'll always be in a warm and comfortable environment. Of course, there's nothing you can do about the loneliness in your heart." Oh, how many places dare to compare with Sanshui County? Wenshan County is remote, and without the help of the Zhang family and Wang family, it's already not bad. If we go further, we'll see the lively scene in the county. Ani also frowned, regretting what he just said. It was wrong to have different administrative views. Xiao Yuan nodded and didn't say anything else. After breakfast was served, they hurriedly ate and the group continued on their journey towards Wenshan County. After traveling for more than an hour, they finally saw people. There were several dozen people scattered around the terrace fields on the mountain. When they saw the large group of people, they stopped what they were doing and straightened their backs to watch the excitement. When they saw a flag with the pattern of rice seedlings rise up, they were very happy. They stepped on the furrows and gathered on the road in front of the team. Each and every one of them had an excited expression on their faces. "You're always so enthusiastic. It's so embarrassing. You're holding up my work." Xiaobei swung his arms and walked to the front with a grin. He said to the locals, "You're welcome. Have you had breakfast? I brought some steamed buns. Try them all." Someone from the team immediately brought the buns over. Actually, they didn't bring them on purpose. They hadn't eaten them in the morning. The leftovers were placed in a box covered with a quilt. They were still warm even now. The locals were not polite either. They surrounded Xiaobei and the others and happily talked about all kinds of things. They picked up the big meat buns and ate them quickly. They had indeed not eaten breakfast. If they had eaten in the morning, they would be hungry at noon. They would eat at noon. Would they eat at night? Normally, they ate 2 meals a day. While eating, they didn't stay idle. They constantly asked the children if they were tired from the journey. Topics like whether they were cold or not seemed very natural. It didn't seem at all like they were meeting for the first time. Ani felt a sour feeling in his heart. He was keenly aware of the reason for this situation. The locals were constantly thinking about the Zhang family and the Wang family. They were always fascinated by them, so even if they were meeting for the first time, they didn't feel the slightest bit of unfamiliarity. Of course, the officials were also thinking about Xiaobei and the others, but they were thinking about different things. They were more afraid than friendly. In order to get along well with the locals, Xiaobei, who had clearly eaten his fill, still took a steamed bun and bit into it. Then he asked the locals what they were doing in the fields, whether they were doing well, and what problems they needed his help with. The locals didn't understand how to consider problems from the perspective of the country's general situation. They only thought about the matters before their eyes. Some asked for his help in building 2 bridges over the Wenshui River. Others said that they had heard of something called a water pump, and that they should get a few. In the summer, the terrace fields in the mountains were short of water, so that they could pump the water up. Others asked for thermometers. This year, their families planned to raise more ducks and adopt the method of artificial incubation. The only matter that directly involved national politics was to have County Magistrate Gongsun Mo take over as County Magistrate. The original county magistrate was to be demoted and stay in the way. Xiao Yuan followed at the side, taking out a small notebook and pencil and earnestly taking notes. Occasionally he would stop to ask where the best place to build the bridge was, or talk about what one should pay attention to when raising ducks. When the locals saw Xiao Yuan writing, they felt even more assured and ate their steamed buns even faster. Among the crowd, Provincial Governor Ani began to observe a moment of silence for the local county magistrate. Although the appointment and removal of officials here were not like in Sanshui County, where they were supervised by the common people, as long as they didn't do a good job and didn't receive any support from the public budget, they would immediately be removed. But since Xiao Bei and the others had come and heard what the common people said, when the time came for them to be questioned, one bad answer was certain to be removed. After a while, everyone was full. Xiao Bei also finished off the steamed buns in his hands and said to the crowd, "Okay, we've noted everything down. We'll arrange it later. Everyone can continue working. We'll also continue on to the county. See you later." The local stomachs were much more comfortable, and their moods were also much better. After greeting each other and watching the procession pass, they returned to the fields and continued working. Xiao Bei's group continued to walk forward. When they saw the house up ahead, a large group of people came out to welcome them. There were blue-clothed yamen runners, and there were also people wearing official robes. Presumably, someone had come back to the county to report. As expected, while they were waiting for the people in front of them to come over, a local came over and explained to Xiao Bei in embarrassment. He said that he had come back to report to Gongsun Mou and didn't plan on letting anyone else know. Who would have thought that Gongsun Mou would tell someone else? It's fine. We're not here to visit incognito. The situation in the county is for all to see. Poor is poor, rich is rich. I've never asked for Wenshan County to be the same as Sanshui County. Help introduce the main officials. If you have time later, we'll invite you to accompany us on a tour of the county. You're a local and are familiar with the county. As Xiao Bei spoke, he lowered his head and looked at his clothes. After thinking for a while, he decided not to change into his official robes. The person who came over to speak naturally wouldn't say that he didn't have time, and wouldn't accompany them on a tour. He followed the group of children, and began to introduce them when the Yamen people came closer. This is the county deputy, Lord Gongsun Mou. The first person to be introduced was the county deputy. The expressions of the two people beside Gongsun Mou clearly darkened. Normally they were always suppressed. Now that a big shot had come, they Gongsun Mou knew to follow behind when they went out of the county to welcome them. They didn't expect that they would introduce him first. As the two of them cursed in their hearts, they glanced to the side and saw that everyone had a very normal expression. Their mood worsened. This official greets the patrol envoy. When we heard that the patrol envoy had arrived, the county magistrate was very happy and quickly gathered us to welcome you. With the support of the county magistrate, the lives of the county people this year were much better. This is Wang Chang, County Magistrate Wang. Seeing that he was introduced first, Gongsun Mou quickly stepped forward and introduced the county magistrate. Hearing Gongsun Mou's words, County Magistrate Wang Chang's mood improved a little. When he saw Xiao Bei looking over, he also stepped forward and bowed with his hands folded. He said, "This official didn't know that the Lord was here and was late to welcome you. I deserve to die 10,000 deaths. So you're saying that you've confessed? You've confessed to a capital crime, right? You don't have to die 10,000 deaths. You can choose your own way of dying. Hurry up." Xiao Bei nodded to Wang Chang and said. Wang Chang was stunned. The surrounding people were also stunned. What was going on? They had just met and they wanted to kill him? Lord Zhang, what is this official's crime? Why must I die? Wang Chang swallowed his saliva and asked with a trembling voice. You said that you deserve to die 10,000 deaths for coming late. Are you kidding? Deceiving the emperor? We are patrolling on behalf of the heavens. Xiao Bei was still aggressive. She was angry because Wang Chang was too fat. The surrounding people were all thin and weak or had normal physiques. Only Wang Chang had a big belly and a round face. He looked like a big steamed bun, fair and tender. If there was no problem with being a businessman, How could an official be so fat? How could he be so fat when he was under the pressure of the county magistrate? His heart was too big. Looking at Gongsun Mou again, his eyes were full of spirit, the lines on his face were clear, and his hands were very rough. When he bowed just now, one could see the crack on his upturned thumb. It was understandable that he was not capable, but why didn't he go down there more often? Who wouldn't be angry when they saw a lazy and stupid official? Wang Chang didn't know that it was because of his body that caused trouble. He stood there in a daze, not knowing how to respond. He couldn't really die, right? That would be too sullen. If he died because of a polite sentence, it would be recorded in the history books. The scene suddenly became quiet. No one made a sound, and even their breathing was controlled. County Magistrate Wang, tell us about Wenshan County. We will stand here and listen. At the same time we can discuss with the locals. Xiao Yuan spoke at the right time. He knew very well that Xiao Bei didn't intend to kill anyone. That would be too unreasonable. Wang Chang heaved a sigh of relief and looked at Xiao Yuan gratefully. He nodded his head vigorously and said in a trembling voice, "My county is Wenshan, under the jurisdiction of Maozhou. My original province is called Wenshan County, and the county is called Wenshan County. The county is called the governor's office. I asked you to talk about Wenshan County. Why are you talking about Maozhou? You want to be the provincial governor? If you want to know about the prefecture, you can ask Xiao Yuan. Xiao Yuan has already memorized it. We want to know about the current county's population, geography, production, economy, humanities, education, medical care, taxes and policies." Cold sweat flowed down Wang Chang's forehead. Yes, I know my mistake. There are about 400 households in this county, and the population is estimated to be about 2,500 people. There are mountains, snow on the mountains, and sea. Oh, I remember, Longquan Mountain and Min Mountain are also under the jurisdiction of the county, right? Speaking of this, Wang Chang looked at Gongsun Moyu. Seeing him nod, he continued. Production refers to the tribute, right? There is gold, cinnabar, and medicinal herbs. Yes, cinnabar is also a medicinal herb, yes. Gold is also a medicinal herb. The entire prefecture's tribute is medicinal herbs. Xiao Yuan couldn't help but speak. Yes, sir is right. As for the economy, the word economy is so familiar. I seem to have heard of it before. It's not about taxes, right? The economy is quite good. Our county's economy has always been good under the care of the imperial court. What does humanities mean? It's also very good. Education, we have a school. The school is big, and we can also have houses. Medical care, there are 2 doctors sent by the medical school. What are their names? Anyway, their medical skills are very good. In terms of taxes, they were exempted by County Magistrate Gongsun and reduced by half. Otherwise, our county magistrate would be very rich now. Gongsun Moyu, do you admit it? Wang Chang was angry when he talked about taxes. Although the county's income was many times more than before, if they didn't exempt taxes and didn't reduce taxes, wouldn't it be even more? Gongsun Moyu didn't deny it and nodded in agreement. After Wang Chang finished complaining, he thought that Xiao Bei and the rest would teach Gongsun Moyu a lesson. However, he found that Gongsun Moyu was indifferent, so he could only continue. Policy. We plan to make the people rich and increase the county's income. We don't want the imperial court to worry, and we want others to praise us. What do you think? Chapter 1184. After finishing his report, Wang Chang nervously stared at Xiao Bei, waiting for his punishment. He seemed to have realized that his answer was not very good. Xiao Bei also stared at Wang Chang, his eyes wide open and his mouth agape in shock. After a while, he raised his hand and pointed at Wang Chang. You've worked hard. It's not hard. Everything is for the great Tang. This Wenshan County, under the care of His Majesty, the attention of the officials of the imperial court, and the concern of the provincial governor, combined with the local situation, and with the spirit of not fearing hardship, fatigue, or difficulty, we organized people to go deep into the mountains, forests, fields, and lakes. We had face-to-face contact with the common people, and had heart-to-heart exchanges. We were anxious for the common people's needs and thoughts, and we adopted a series of effective measures to strengthen and enrich the common people. After 2 years of hard work and development, we have obtained gratifying results. At the same time, we have also discovered our own shortcomings. Through discussion and learning, we are gradually improving. I believe that it won't be long before a completely new Wenshan County will appear before the eyes of the Great Tang. This county will also stand tall among the Great Tang's strongest counties. Wang Chang's words were much more fluent than when he had first reported, coming out of his mouth. Xiao Bei's eyes were even wider than before, and his breathing became hurried. He took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. His expression returned to normal, and he smiled. Very good. To tell the truth, before we came, we were still worried that our Wenshan County's development would not be good. But seeing you as the county magistrate, we are relieved. I have heard, seen, and truly understood. Under the leadership of County Magistrate Wang, Wenshan County has united together and done many things for the common people. This shows that Wenshan County's Yamen team is a team with fighting strength, a team with courage and wisdom, a team that can be brought out at any time to win a battle. In recent years, our Great Tang's economic situation has been very good. But speaking of which, there are specific counties that should be commended. Wenshan County has done very well in this regard, walking in front of the other counties. Accustomed to exploration, bold development, and careful verification, it has played the role of a leader. And in light of the county's actual situation, it has found a feasible and reliable path of development. This path is positive, it is upward, and it is paved with enthusiasm for the people. After speaking, Xiao Bei nodded at Wang Chang with a smile. County Magistrate Wang was dumbfounded. He knew that he did not speak well at the beginning, so he planned to use conventional words to fool him. He thought that bullying a child would not be a problem. When little Bei was confused, he would have passed the test. Who would have thought that Xiao Bei would actually say the same thing? He seemed to be even better than him. Trouble, big trouble. This feeling was very familiar. It was as if Shengguan Mingming was very angry, but he still smiled at you. Then, what awaited you would definitely be ruthless. Otherwise, he would scold you. The reason why he didn't scold you was because you were done for. Just like being beheaded, your last meal will be prepared for you. If you're about to die, no one will argue with you. Gong Sun Moyu lowered his head and did not say a word. The registrar closed his eyes. The county official looked at the county magistrate with pity. Everyone knew what was going on. But the common people around did not know that after hearing County Magistrate Wang Chang's shameless words, not only did Xiao Bei not teach him a lesson, he even praised him. Everyone was so anxious that their faces turned red. Just as one person was about to stand out and expose Wang Chang mercilessly, Xiao Bei put away his bright smile and looked at Gong Sun Moyu. He said, Deputy County Magistrate Gong Sun, add a few words. Yes. Gong Sun Moyu stepped forward and took a deep breath to calm himself down. His eyes looked away and he spoke as if he was reminiscing. This county's Wenshan is under the jurisdiction of Maozhou government. Last December, the final inspection showed that the area was 74,522 mu, including forests, fields, and lakes. There were 479 registered residents. There were also 4 single elderly people and 15 orphans who were not registered as registered residents. They were temporarily raised in the county. Yes. We raised the elderly and children that no one wanted. Wang Chang continued. County Magistrate Wang, please wait and listen to Deputy County Magistrate Gong Sun. Xiao Yuan raised his hand to Wang Chang. Gong Sun Mayu didn't show any dissatisfaction and continued. According to the census, there are 3,334 people in this county at the beginning of this month. There are also 95 pregnant women, of which 3 are twins. The birth month is delayed by 3 to 7 months. The rest are within 3 months of pregnancy, and we haven't found out yet. At the end of last year, this county's financial income was 6,462 strings of coins and 103 coins. The total income from the rent of crops was 4,200 don and 6 dotes, of which 720 don of barley, 2,900 don and 2 dotes of millet, and 580 don and 4 dotes of wheat. Because all miscellaneous taxes were exempted, The income from miscellaneous taxes was zero. Since the end of last year's frost, considering that this county has Longquan Mountain and Min Mountain, as well as lakes, there is not much suitable land for farming. In addition, it takes a long time to destroy forests and farmland, and the cost is too high. Therefore, this county's main agricultural income is not much, and we mainly plant herbs. Combined with the natural geographical environment, the 22 villages mainly raised ducks in the early stage of laying eggs in the lakes. Due to the rich local mineral resources, we artificially made century eggs in exchange for income. The pilot villages Erlong Village, Baihu Village, and Fonglai Village raised goats and sheep. It is estimated that they will enter the harvest season in July this year. How many ducks? How many sheep and goats? Xiao Hai suddenly interrupted. Hearing this question, Wang Chong snickered. That was a good question. Who asked you to be so arrogant? I didn't even manage to answer those questions, and you dared to ask in such detail. Tell me. Usually, I can't beat you, but now someone who can teach you a lesson is here. The people who came over were angry. Who asked this question? Why did he have to make things difficult for our good deputy county magistrate Gongsun? It was that county magistrate Wang Chong who deserved to die. Gongsun Moyu's face was still calm. He took a deep breath, nodded and replied, by the 6th of April, the number of ducks raised in this county is 11,621. There are 591 male ducks, 109 female ducks, and 1021 ducklings. From the 6th of March to the 6th of April, 120,499 eggs were laid. 1,100 goats, 950 sheep, 50 male goats, 1,050 female goats, 910 female sheep, and 40 rams. In addition, there are 131 female goats with their young, and 44 sheep. In another 1 or 2 months, the children in the school will be able to drink goat milk. How do you know? Xiao Hai asked again. That's because from the 6th of March to the 6th of April, all the duck eggs, except for the spoiled ones, were made into century eggs. I was in charge of selling them. Every duck egg was the hard work of the people, so I didn't dare to be careless. How can I forget the people's hopes? Gongsun Moyu's reply was full of righteousness and conviction. Good deputy county magistrate. Our good deputy county magistrate. A person shouted loudly, and the other people followed suit. Clap, clap, claps, clap. Clap, clap, claps, clap. Under Xiao Bei's lead, Xiao Bei and the others started clapping. The rhythm was not fast, but each clap was shocking. The people followed suit and clapped for a long time before slowly stopping. Xiao Bei wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes and nodded vigorously. Gongsun Moyu, you are good. We can rest assured that we will leave Wenshan County to you. There is no need to answer other questions here. Wait until we enter the yamen. I believe you will not be wrong. Let me ask you another question. We are very curious now. As a deputy county magistrate, you are able to do so much in the county. Which family do you come from? Or which famous place do you come from? We cannot believe that a person as young as you comes from an ordinary family. It is not that we look down on ordinary people, but it is too hard for us to accept. If you really come from an ordinary family, please tell us who your father and mother are. We want to thank them properly. Not only were Xiao Bei and the others curious, but the people were also puzzled. Where did their deputy county magistrate come from? Even the gloomier Wang Chong was waiting for Gongsun Moyu's answer. He also could not understand. How could a subordinate who had only been here for 2 months be able to suppress him and the registrar to the point that they could not do anything? How was this person's family? Hearing Xiao Bei's question, Gongsun Moyu's Weiwei was stunned. He sighed softly and reached into his chest. He slowly took it out and lowered his head to solemnly wear it on his left chest. When he raised his head again, his entire temperament had changed. He was no longer as humble and gloomy as before. There was a sharpness in his eyes, and his movements were steady. He had combined the two contradictory states together. There was a confident smile at the corner of his mouth. He said in a low voice but full of energy, I come from an ordinary family, but I am 16th in the entrance exam in the 15th year of Kaiyuan. I graduated from Jianjia Academy. Jianjia Academy's 9th World Lifelong Student. Gong Sun Moyu greets the main family's young master and young lady. Ah, Jianjia. It's actually Jianjia. No wonder. The moment Gong Sun Moyu's words left his mouth, it caused an uproar among the crowd. The cartoon symbol on his chest with a reed pattern was also stared at by the crowd, and the people standing behind him quickly squeezed forward. Wang Chang only glanced at it, and then stopped looking at the reed. He sighed and then muttered, no wonder you can't beat him. You're actually from Jianjia. You've graduated from Jianjia. So why did you come to the remote Wenshan County to bully us? You're originally an official from the capital, and the same rank is worthless in other places. You must have nothing better to do. Right now no one cared about Wang Chang. Everyone was looking at Gong Sun Moyu, especially the eyes of the commoners. They were filled with happiness. Jianjia, the imperial court actually sent someone who graduated from Jianjia to this county. No wonder he was so powerful. He used 1.5 years to increase his income by around 10 times. He graduated from Jianjia Academy. They couldn't compare. Normal people couldn't compare. Xiao Bei and the others were also stunned. After a while, Xiao Bei reacted. His face darkened. He angrily questioned Gong Sun Moyu. You have the nerve to say you're from Jianjia. Look at yourself. What have you done? 1.5 years. This is 1.5 years. You've only done this? I feel ashamed for you. It seems that without anyone watching, the academy is getting worse and worse. They dare to let anyone out. You used 1.5 years to build Wenshan County to this state. Who let you graduate? Why did it become so loose? You can graduate just because you're a person? Gong Sun Moyu's forehead was covered with sweat and his face turned pale. The commoners were even more confused. Wang Chang's face turned redder. How embarrassing. Look, he was still praising him. Now that his identity was revealed, he was scolded. Damn, wasn't it enough to achieve this as a deputy district magistrate in 1.5 years? Just because he was from Jianjia. Chapter 1185. Hearing Xiao Bei's scolding, Gong Sun Moyu pressed his chin against his chest. He stared at his shoes and didn't dare to move at all. Tell me yourself, how much time did you waste? Look at your uncles and brothers and sisters. Look at what they are wearing. When we came here, we couldn't see the smoke with our binoculars. They didn't eat breakfast. Look at the road under your feet. I'm so tired from walking here. As a county deputy, you spent 1.5 years and still couldn't help the people of Zhong County get out of this situation. Are you worthy of their trust? Are you worthy of the people who sent you off by the Luoshui River? How dare you wear the Jianjia symbol on your chest? The more Xiao Bei spoke, the angrier she got. She pointed at the ground and then pointed at the faces of the people around them. Gong Sun Moyu looked back and forth with Xiao Bei's words. He nodded fiercely. I didn't do well. I was too selfish. I let the people down. I deserve to die. Wait a minute, I don't understand. When Gong Sun Moyu admitted his guilt, the old man who had been standing beside them for a while spoke. At the same time, the old man took 2 steps forward and reached out to touch Xiao Bei's head. He said, Girl, where are Xiao Bao and Cuckoo? Oh, brother and sister went to Izhou Prefecture. We heard from Izhou Provincial Governor, that there is a very powerful official in Wenshan County, so we came here. Xiao Bei raised her head and said. The old man nodded. Xiaobao and Huan are indeed busy. I heard that they are here to fight a war. Last, County Deputy County Magistrate Gongsun is actually doing very well. All of you also said that he is very good. Why are you scolding him when you are here? The days in the county are getting better and better. Xiao Bei shook her head and said, Uncle, it's not like that. You don't know. How can I not know? It's not easy for Gongsun County Deputy. When he first came here, there were always people who made trouble for him. He spent 2 months to suppress the people who took the position but didn't do anything. It took him another year to make the lives of the people in the county better. The old man continued to plead for Gongsun Moyu. Xiao Bei continued to shake his head. Uncle, you really don't know. Jianjia's academy is different from other places. Other academies teach students all kinds of books, and it's not easy to enter. It was very easy for Jianjia to enter the school. Anyone could come, regardless of whether they were from an aristocratic family or from a poor family. However, it was difficult for them to graduate. The knowledge in the books was only the foundation. After graduation, they had to pass the administrative exam. Among them, it involved the local economic construction, as well as the game under different political environments. For example, the situation that Gongsun Moyu encountered was very normal. It was very easy for a county deputy to suppress the registrar and county magistrate in the academy. A county magistrate like Wang Chang isn't worth mentioning at all. You heard him answer the question just now. It's not that I'm looking down on him, but any random person from Jianzhou Academy who can't graduate can deal with him like a child's play. An uproar broke out in the surroundings again. Everyone looked at Wang Chang with different gazes. Wang Chang's face was so red that it was about to bleed. Yes, he didn't beat Gongsun Moyu, but he shouldn't say it in front of so many people. He was a county magistrate after all. Couldn't he give him some face? It was just a matter of nodding his head to kill someone. Was it necessary to slap his face in front of him? The old man who stood out looked at the sky and pondered for a while. He said, I understand. Jianjia Academy is very powerful. Gongsun is already very powerful. Anyway, he's just a county deputy. It's not easy for him to make many decisions. Uncle, let me tell you this. Not to mention that he's just a county deputy, he's just an ordinary official. As long as he's from Jianjia, he has to complete his political ideas in various struggles with his superiors, colleagues, and subordinates. To put it simply, when he first arrived, there were a total of 100 people, including him. 99 people did not like him and bullied him. He had to fight against the 99 people, while making the local people rich. If he did not have this ability, he could forget about graduating. No matter what methods he used, he had to fulfill his political demands. Otherwise, he would not be able to graduate. There are many people waiting to graduate in the academy. They're all smart people. They're definitely not ordinary people. That's why we're not satisfied. Xiaobei revealed the background of the academy. Hearing this, the county magistrate Wang Chang blushed with shame. It was so insidious to talk about seizing and cheating. Gongsun Moyu quickly echoed, yes, yes. My opponents before graduation are other people in the academy. They're also waiting to graduate. Some of them haven't graduated for 10 years. It's very difficult to suppress them and get things done at the same time. Whether they're willing or not, it's very difficult to get their approval. Compared to them, County Magistrate Wang Chang and Wang Chang are really like children. Our graduation exam is to find a real county, and then send people to discuss with the county officials. We're their staff. They'll do whatever we say. At that time I chose Chengxian, Hunan Province's Izhou province. At that time, I was only at Songchao. At that time, the Songchao was very obedient. He did whatever I said. Now he has become a county magistrate. You can go to Chengxian now and you will know. Let's put it this way. Until the end, when I finished the basic construction of the county as a granary, I never stopped fighting. Back then, when those people fought with me, they didn't dare to sacrifice the lives of their people, but they used almost all of their methods. Of course, they didn't dare to kidnap the interests of the people. Otherwise, the main family, that is the Zhang family and Wang family of Sanshui, would deal with him. Not to mention letting him graduate. They might even kill him directly. Even if he's a relative of the emperor, it's useless. Gongsun Moyu's words deeply agitated County Magistrate Wang again. He squatted on the ground and pulled his hair with both hands. Duf asterisk king look down on me so much? Didn't I cooperate with you very much? You asked me to stamp, I stamped. You asked me to issue an announcement, I issued an announcement. What else do you want? The local people once again looked at the reed symbol on Gongsun Moyu's left chest. At the same time, they understood how important this symbol was. Jianjia really lived up to her reputation. She actually had to play like this to graduate. It was scary just hearing about it. The old man who asked the question also looked at Gongsun Moyu from head to toe. Then he nodded and said, it's not easy, it's not easy. Look at our Gongsun kid. What, girl? Even so, Gongsun kid is doing very well. What's so good about it? Why don't you understand? To reach this level, he doesn't need a year and a half. 1 year is enough. It's all a ready-made model. It's nothing more than adapting to local conditions, and then developing. My brother and sister have summed up more than 100 models. It's not a problem to use them flexibly. And Jianjia graduates don't become a motherless child after graduation. If he encounters any problems, he can ask the academy for help. The academy will immediately set up a special team to support him. He can also mobilize a lot of economic and information resources. Now you know who's behind Gongsun Moyu. According to my brother, at this moment, he's not fighting alone. If he really encounters a strong opponent that the academy can't solve, the academy will send a request for help to the retired grandpas of the imperial court who are idling at home. If the old grandpas also encounter problems, such as the economic experts like the Tokyo Zero in the beginning, or Fengqiao and Yamamoto in Japan, the information will be directly passed to my brother and sister. Uncle, tell me, isn't such support enough? Behind Gongsun Moyu are the students and teachers of the academy, countless high-ranking officials of the imperial court, and the family power of the Zhang family and Wang family. Under such circumstances, he actually spent a year and a half to do something for the county. What do you think he did? While speaking, Xiaobei's finger was already pointing at Gongsun Moyu. It was a very impolite and disrespectful gesture. But Gongsun Moyu didn't dare to dodge. He pursed his lips, as if he was about to cry. The surrounding people didn't make any noise. Instead, they even controlled their breathing. The scene was quiet for a while, but their hearts were not calm at all. Some were shocked, some were happy, and some were moved. It turned out that the imperial court didn't just send an official from Jianjia, but an unimaginably large group. It was a reassuring guarantee. The local situation wasn't important. What was important was that Gongsun Moyu, the person from Jianjia Academy, had come. After a while, the old man said to Gongsun Moyu, "Gongsun, what's going on? We don't blame you. In our opinion, you've done very well. We were afraid that you couldn't satisfy the academy. Actually, it's also our fault. If we had known that you were from Jianjia, we would have definitely helped you push the county magistrate and registrar down on the day you took office. Our Wenshan County is different from the counties near the capital. If we say that someone can't do it, that person has to go down. Even if the emperor says so, it's the same unless he sends troops to destroy us. In the past, our officials were all chosen by ourselves. Later, the imperial court, or more accurately, Xiaobao and Kuku, settled the Tubo and Tujue. Only then did we allow the imperial court to send officials. When County Magistrate Wang Chang came, we thought that he was good. Our days were better than before. Until you came, we realized that Wang Chang was really useless. We're not afraid of not knowing what's good, but we're afraid of comparing. Tell us properly. If you really can't do it, we'll be your guarantor." The old man's words were true, and the people around him echoed. What they meant was that although what he did was not good in the academy's eyes, they approved of him. He had done very well. The main problem was that the academy's requirements were too high. Gongsun Moyu's tears finally fell. He wiped them with his sleeve and replied, "No, it's my fault. I didn't use the academy's resources. I wanted to do things with my own ability. I didn't want to rely on the academy, so I did a lot of the coordination myself. Take the century eggs, for example. It's not difficult to produce century eggs. I learned in the academy that the difficult part is selling them. I personally went to Chengdu to sell them. Each trip took a long time. Also, I followed every sale because I was afraid that you would be cheated. To be honest, there was no need to go through so much trouble. I just sent a telegram to the telegraph office in Maozhou. There are people who graduated from the academy in Chengdu. They would help to collect information and contact the sales channels. Then I would arrange for you to go there. They would receive you there. I could spare some time to do more things for the county, but I didn't do it. To be honest, even if I didn't make century eggs, I could sell them easily if I made salted duck eggs. For example, if I went to the candy house and sold salted duck eggs to them, they wouldn't give a low price. Half a salted duck egg every day is good for the children's health. I'm going to die of anger. Gongsun Moyu, you make me even angrier than County Magistrate Wang. Let me ask you, do you know what is called jianjia? Xiaobei covered his chest with one hand and asked while panting. It's reeds. Gongsun Moyu answered. Xiaohai interrupted. It's good that you know. There are many students in Jianjia. They are all reeds. Reeds are not as beautiful as flowers. Reeds are not as strong as trees. Reeds are not as effective as ginseng. Reeds are not as tasty as cucumbers. Reeds can't even be compared to those branches that can only be burned as firewood. But why did the academy name it Jianjia? Because Jianjia grew among the clouds. Because one could see people in the depths of Jianjia. A single reed is nothing. Only continuous reeds can make a pond. When there are many reeds, one can make all kinds of things. Others say that we are smart. What are we smart for? We are 9 people, each with their own strengths. We are all like you. We have to show off. If we are separated, the Tang patrol will be useless. Even so, we have many problems that we can't solve. We have to ask our brothers and sisters for help. Why? It's not that we are humbly asking for help. It's that we are afraid of doing things that will hinder others. We can't refuse to ask our brothers and sisters for help because of our little thoughts. That will hurt many people. This is called responsibility. Do you know how to write the word responsibility? Do you know? When you become the deputy county magistrate, you don't just represent yourself. You also have to be responsible for the 3,334 people in the county. You also have to be responsible for the 98 unborn children. There are 22 villages in the county and 479 households are counting on you. The tax of 6,462 strings of coins and 103 coins is not worth showing off. The monthly production of 120,499 duck eggs is not your capital. It's just a number. If the 9 of us held power in Wenshan County, do you believe that we can do better than you? Give us a year, and we can remember everyone's name. We can understand every inch of land because we have the talent. Yes, every child is a genius. The 9 of us are the same. But I dare say that we only need 8 months to reach your current level. In a year, we can surpass you by several times. It's not that we are capable, but that we know how to use resources. You don't use the resources and insist on showing yourself. You have angered me. Gongsun Moyu looked at Xiaohai in shock. He made a sound of agreement and then stopped talking. After all, it was useless to explain. The others were also shocked. Gongsun Moyu had only said it once. They didn't expect him to remember it. He even said it so accurately that even the unborn children were included. The old man who asked didn't continue to defend Gongsun Moyu. The truth was that Gongsun Moyu didn't use any resources and wanted to do something for himself. Then he wasted time. Although it was amazing that he could reach this level in a year, this wasn't everything. If Gongsun Moyu wanted to, he could do even better. Gongsun, you can't think about doing things for yourself in the future. You came from Jianjia. How can you escape from Jianjia? You said that you don't use resources, but what you learned in Jianjia is already resources. Yes, I'll change, I'll definitely change. Compared to my fellow villagers, I know. I'm just a reed. Only in the depths of the reeds can one see his beloved. Little young master, little miss, please give me one more chance. Gongsun Moyu said to the surrounding people, and then nervously faced Xiaobei. Don't make it sound so pitiful. I can't kill you. If I want to kill someone, I have to kill Wang Chang first. At least you have done a lot for the county. Don't you think so, County Magistrate Wang? Xiaobei turned to look at Wang Chang. Don't kill me, my family has. There is an 80-year-old mother and a child crying piteously for food. I know. I will investigate later to see if you have embezzled a lot of money or bullied the people. We will talk about it when the time comes. County Magistrate Gongsun, tell us about the future development plan of this county. We can't stay here for a long time. Tell us. We will help you think about it. Xiaobei glanced at Wang Chang and said to Gongsun Moyu, Plan? The plan has to be changed. Originally, I didn't want to trouble others. Now that I want to use resources, I have to change it. Gongsun Moyu hesitated and said. Chapter 1186. A gust of wind blew and Xiaobei shivered. He looked at the mud wall in front of him through the gaps in the crowd and said, "Let's go in first. It's windy outside. Last night, the tent was so noisy. I didn't sleep well." "The girl must have been tired," said the old man who had walked over with a pained expression. "It's not me, it's the rest of the team. Go in and arrange a place for them to sleep. Let's go." Xiaobei led the way. With Gongsun Moyu by his side, Wang Cheng's position as county magistrate could not be reflected. He could only follow a few steps behind, afraid and aggrieved. Hearing Xiaobei's words, he turned his head and muttered, "Didn't they say that the Zhang family and Wang family's servants and guards are the best in the Great Tang? Won't the wind tire them out?" "What are you talking about? I hate it when people talk behind my back. So what if they're elites? Elites are still people. Normally, they don't need to be so fatigue-resistant. Or are you trying to tell us that in Wenshan County, our people need to maintain the same vigilance? Are you worried about yourself or the people in the county?" Xiaobei turned around and asked Wang Chang. Before Wang Chang could explain, the surrounding locals glared at him angrily. It looked like they wanted to tear him apart. An older woman with wrinkles on her face held a wooden staff and knocked it on the ground twice. She looked at Wang Chang and said hatefully, "Useless thing, you can't be a county magistrate. You don't know how to speak. The bad guys don't know that Xiaobei and the others are rushing over. Who in the county can harm them? If someone dares to do something bad, we'll find them even if we have to dig 3 feet into the ground, just like Xuanyang." Hearing the old woman's words, it was clear what she was talking about. A group of young people had almost been blown up by a gunpowder boat in Xuanyang by the Yangtze River. Looking at the situation, the speed at which this news spread was extremely fast. Even the remote mountains knew about it. Wang Chang opened his mouth but did not say a word. Afraid of being attacked, he lowered his head and continued to feel wronged. Xiaobei sighed, shook his head and walked forward. He knew that Wang Chang was depressed. Not all local officials were as capable as Gongsun Moyu. Their abilities were limited, and most of them were just maintaining the status quo. This was especially true for people in remote areas. If they couldn't come up with a short-term plan to get rich, others would reject them. As long as he could let the locals continue to live without rebelling, he would be a good official for the imperial court. As for making the local people rich, that was something that only capable officials could do. Logically speaking, Wang Chang, the county magistrate, was not in the wrong. Unless he was found to be corrupt, accepting bribes, abusing his power for personal gain, or bullying the people. Even if he used the money in the wrong place or did something wrong out of kindness, he could not be punished. Of course, if he really did break the other rules, even if he was greedy for 100 copper coins, it would still be a heavy crime. Thinking about this, Xiaobei looked at Gongsun Moyu who was following him. He thought that since the lives of the local people were better, and the county's revenue had increased a few times, it would not be a problem for him to covet a few hundred strings of coins. There was no such thing as fairness and impartiality in this world. "Uncle, can I ask you something?" Xiaobei suddenly asked the old man beside him. "Don't mention one, I will answer as many as you ask. I will tell you everything I know." The old man said happily. Wang Chang suddenly said, "Yes, I will tell you everything I know." "Shut up. Do you know? Do you know how to make us live a good life?" The old man reprimanded. If it was before Xiaobei and the others came, he would not dare to talk about the county magistrate. But now he was not afraid. He probably would not be the county magistrate for long. Even if he continued to be the county magistrate, he was not afraid. If the provincial governor made a mistake, he would still dare to scold him in front of Xiaobei and the others. Do you still have the guts to take revenge? Try it. If you take revenge today, someone will raid your house tomorrow. Taking revenge because of what Xiaobei and the others did was to prevent the people from speaking to the emperor. If the path of speaking was not smooth, the fate of the nation would not be smooth. What kind of crime did you commit? Wang Chang seemed to have thought of this as well, so he did not even dare to look at the old man angrily. "Uncle, don't worry about him. Let me ask you, do you like an official who is not greedy and is dedicated to the people but cannot make your lives better? Or do you like an official who is very smart and can make your lives dozens of times better with just a little bit of effort, but will also steal some of the money?" Xiaobei asked. Since ancient times, this topic had its own right and wrong. The old man was stunned by the question. When the group entered the range of the earth wall, he smacked his lips and said, "In my opinion, it depends on the place. For example, in Wanshan we can't eat meat twice a year. When we finally hunt something in the mountains, we have to make it into dried meat and take it outside to exchange for oil and salt. When there is a shortage of food, wild vegetables are good things. When you are hungry, grass roots and tree bark are also good. If the county magistrate wants to be greedy and live a good life, we can't wait to eat his meat and drink his blood. If it is that brat Gongsun after 1 or 2 years, he can be greedy if he wants to. It is not easy for him. He can't be rich while we suffer. People's hearts are made of flesh. We also want him to live a good life. If the higher-ups really come to investigate, I don't know about others. I will help to speak up and stop it if I can. Your Sanshui County is definitely different. Everyone is rich and usually does not lack things. You are just an official to help maintain the status quo. What right do you have to be greedy? When you take the money that should be used in the county, what will other people use? The people of your Sanshui County are not greedy, right? Dare? Lend them 100 guts, and I will let them live to earn, but not to spend. In fact, there are no officials in my county who are greedy. The money that is earned is not as good as the money that is earned after doing a good job. The eyes of the common people are bright. Uncle, do you think Wang Chang, the county magistrate, is greedy? Xiaobei seemed to have understood a problem and led the topic to Wang Chang. Wang Chang instantly felt that winter had come. And it came when he was standing on the top of Min Mountain. If he really said that he was greedy, his crime would be increased by 5 levels, and he would be beheaded. I am not greedy. Thinking of his head, Wang Chang shouted at the top of his voice. Xiaobei said lightly, "Reason does not depend on the loudness of your voice. I am really not greedy. Look, all of you, look at my clothes." Wang Chang continued to shout. As he spoke, he lifted his outer official robe, revealing the inner lining. The material of the inner lining was not bad. The men came over and touched it. They looked at each other and nodded. The man said, "The second-class brocade of Sichuan has fine stitches and smooth silk. The only shortcoming is that the embroidery is not good. The first-class top grade is much better, such as Xiaoxian's inner lining. Xiaoxian, come here and let everyone have a look." The man thought that he and others were not wearing Sichuan brocade but fine cotton, so he had to call the maid over and lift the outer coat to reveal the inner lining. He said to the people around, "This is first-class top-grade Sichuan brocade. County Magistrate Wang's clothes are worth 5 coins. But it seems that he has been wearing it for many years. There are patches on it, and the silk on his stomach is almost broken." Thank you, good people." Wang Chang, who was relieved, said gratefully. At the same time, he looked at the maid Xiaoxian enviously. "Even a maid is better dressed than me. Why don't you unruly people say that a maid is not well dressed?" Of course, the unruly people did not care how well dressed the maids of the Zhang family and the Wang family were. The inner courtyards of the Zhang family and the Wang family were legendary. It was said that any one of them could be a good local official. Half of the officials in the Tang Empire suddenly died, so it was not a problem to replace the inner courtyards of the 2 families. What the unruly people cared about was whether County Magistrate Wang Chang was pretending or not. So they all came forward and touched County Magistrate Wang's clothes, leaving various handprints on them. Wang Chang's heart twitched when he was touched. He gritted his teeth and endured it. It was just a piece of clothing. It was better than losing his life. The patches are not new. Finally, someone made a conclusion. No. Someone echoed. It has been worn for many years. The silk here has been ruined. County Magistrate Wang, who was about to collapse, suddenly felt that most of the people in the county were good people. The old lady who spoke first, although wrinkled now, was definitely a beauty in her 20s. There was also a little boy who left black handprints and said that the silk was ruined. When he grew up, he was guaranteed to be a pillar of the country. He could easily become the top scorer in the imperial examinations. Xiaobei and the 9 little guys were also puzzled. They gathered their heads together and muttered for a while. Xiaobei turned back and asked, "Wang Chang, Did you deliberately wear a tattered piece of clothing to deal with us? I'll say this. If you really did something wrong, just say it directly. As long as you didn't kill someone or break up your family, we won't pursue it further. However, if you dare to lie to us, you can expect that our Zhang family and the Wang family are not good at investigating. Once we find out, the dozens of people standing on the Vermilion Bird Street in the capital's Chang and city will have one more partner. The family of the Hongnong County Magistrate, Yin Zheng, is still alive. Xiaobei began to scare Wang Chang. Yin Zheng's family did not die because of the little girl. They were sent back from Japan and arranged to be somewhere else. However, outsiders did not know and thought that the whole family had been executed. The reason why Yin Zheng was so tenacious was because he knew that his family was still alive. During the new year, the little girl even came to visit him once. She sat in the car and lifted the curtains to look. This also allowed him to see the son that his pregnant wife had shown him when he was caught. Then he needed to cooperate and shout to every passing official that if he did not die in 20 years, he could reunite with his family. Although he knew that he might not be able to hold on for 20 years, he was still willing to do it. It was enough to see his family once a year. Most of the others were caught in the previous fraud and religious incident. Only a few of them were officials from other places. To them, death was a kind of benevolence. They had to live so that the other officials could see how their bodies were gradually rotting away. They could see medical apprentices operating on their bodies and cutting off their rotten flesh to treat them. They could see their various reactions when they were about to be pierced with a new needle. Wang Chang had seen it before. During the new year, he had returned to the capital with the other local officials to discuss how to support Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan in their western expedition this year. The capital was even colder than Wenshan. One of the officials who had been caught had one of his legs frozen. Then he was arranged to see the medical students explain how to deal with it on the spot. At the time, the official's leg was already black. On it were bulging and broken frostbites. Then he was splashed with boiling water to record his skin reaction when he was suddenly exposed to heat after frostbites. In the end, his leg was sawed off and he was injected with a few injections of a newly developed drug. Before returning to Wenshan, he saw that person again and found that he was still alive. This showed that the medicine was good and that the medical students had superb medical skills. But no matter what, he did not want to personally experience the medical students' superb medical skills on the Vermilion Bird Street. When he thought of this, Wang Chang swallowed his saliva and said, "The clothes are definitely not for show. I don't usually do bad things." "Then why are you white and plump, while Gong Sun Moyu is dark and thin?" Xiaobei inquired about his skin color and figure. Chapter 1187. Wang Chang looked at himself, stretched out his hand and touched his face and stomach. He lowered his head and didn't say anything. In fact, he wanted to say that Gong Sun Moyu wasn't dark and thin, he was just dark. How could he not be dark when he was running around outside all day? But he couldn't excuse himself by blaming others. If he angered Xiaobei and the others, he might be dragged to the capital. I can prove that in the past 1.5 years, County Magistrate Wang didn't get a single penny from the county government for his own enjoyment, Gong Sun Moyu said righteously. Without waiting for others to ask, he continued, "Because after I came to the county, I knew the money in the county government. Part of the money that was handed over to the imperial court last year is in the Tang Bank in the state capital. Last year, there were 12 groups of inspectors. If County Magistrate Wang really used the money, I reported it. Since the end of the new year this year, our finances have always been open to the public. We have told the common people every coin we need. Until now, there have been 5 groups of inspectors. If there is really a problem, when the inspectors ask the people, the villagers will tell the truth." Yes, County Magistrate Gong Sun is right. Every month, they come for inspection. "I am timid and won't spend the county's money," Wang Chang quickly said. "Don't change the concept. I asked you why you are white and fat. You told me that you didn't spend the county's money. You didn't spend the county's money. It can only mean that you are not greedy, but it can't mean that you have no problems. For example, you took bribes, or you used your position to bully people, or you didn't pay when you ate in the restaurant. Xiaobei still thought that Wang Cheng's body couldn't be easily nourished in the tough environment of the county. I. After Wang Chang heard Xiaobei's question, he began to stutter. Obviously, he was right. Gong Sun Moyu said. What I can say is that County Magistrate Wang didn't pay when he ate, and he has 3 fixed restaurants. Every time, the restaurants give County Magistrate Wang money. The lowest is 20 to 30 coins, and the highest is 50 to 100 coins. You can even get money from eating. Good thing. Why haven't I seen it before? County Magistrate Wang, you tell me, I will learn from you. There is such a wonderful thing in the world. Good. Xiaobei began to clench his teeth. I'm innocent. A person came out of the crowd with a rolling pin in his hand. Seeing that everyone was looking at the weapon in his hand, people grabbed his clothes and hurriedly threw the rolling pin on the ground. They were scared because at least 20 guns were pointed at them. Help him pick it up. What kind of weapon can the rolling pin be? At critical moments, what the rolling pin can do, the fist and the head can do as well. Newcomer, who did you say was wronged? Little Hai didn't believe that someone would stupidly rush over and attack with a rolling pin. That rolling pin was no more than 2 feet long. The guns were put away, and some people picked up the rolling pin, but they didn't hand it to the people who had squeezed in. County Magistrate Wang, I'm innocent. I overheard people saying that he doesn't pay for his meals and wants to pay for them. I'm innocent. He often eats in my shop. Why do you say he's resentful? Because he doesn't just eat, he also helps to cook. County Magistrate Wang's cooking skills were simply superb. Oh, my surname is Zhang. And my name is Wretched Ming. The person who called himself Zhang Kai gave Wang Chang a thumbs up when he praised him. Xiaobei and the others didn't say anything. They looked at Zhang Kai and signaled for him to continue. Zhang Kai seemed to be slightly nervous. He took a few deep breaths to calm himself down and continued. County Magistrate Wang's best cooking skills are his knife skills and deep frying skills. That knife is very good. When cutting radishes, a few radishes added together are not even as thick as a strand of hair. He also deep-fried things. The same pot, the same oil, and the same things. County Magistrate Wang's deep-fried food is crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. How good is it? Let me tell you something. You know about pork and fish, right? After County Magistrate Wang's hand frying, putting it in the pot and deep frying, the outside of the pork will be crispy, and the inside of the fish will be juicy. It's fragrant and fresh. Those who have eaten it can testify. Every time County Magistrate Wang comes to my shop to eat, I've asked you to join in the fun. Let's not talk about how good he is as a county magistrate. Let's talk about his cooking skills. I gave him money, right? Yes. I've eaten it too. It's delicious. Vegetable dumpling, don't talk nonsense. County Magistrate Wang's deep frying skills are better than yours. Don't put gold on your face. Xiaobei looked at the old man beside him, and the old woman with the stick. Seeing that the two of them did not object, he believed a lot more. He then looked at County Magistrate Wang and suddenly laughed. Haha, are you a chef or a county magistrate? No wonder you're white and fat. You're a typical foodie. You don't care about the affairs of the people in the county. You go to other people's restaurants to eat and cook for them. Don't you think it's a waste of your talent to be a county magistrate? Yes, foodie. I'm a foodie. I don't deserve to be a county magistrate, Wang Chang said. I don't understand. You're a foodie. How did you become a county magistrate? You should be a chef. Xiaobei was depressed. Who made Wang Chang the county magistrate? What a scam. I took the exam. In the 6th year of Kaiyuan, I was ranked 42nd. I was working in the imperial court, but I found that the salary was too little. The land next to my house was the land of other high-ranking officials. I wanted to raise pigs, but they said it smelled bad. I wanted to dig a pond to raise fish, but they were afraid that the pond water would flow into their fields and drown the seedlings, so they didn't let me dig. Later, I had to cook for my superior for half a month before he helped to transfer me away. Then, when Shan County lacked a county magistrate, I asked for help and got transferred to Wenshan. I knew about this place before I came. There are many wild animals in the mountains and many medicinal herbs. It's perfect for cooking. When Wang Chang talked about eating, he drooled. He swallowed twice to prevent the saliva from flowing out of his mouth. Xiaobei patted his head twice. I really don't know what to say. I believe in Chef Zhang's words now. The food you cook must be delicious. I don't think it's right to say that a person who chose to be an official and choose a place to eat is not delicious. Have you been starving since you were young? No, I was able to eat when I was young because of my mother. My father died early, and my mother raised the 6 of us. At that time, Wang Chang began to talk about his family matters. He said that his mother had suffered a lot in order to raise the 6 of them. When they were young, they ate first, and their mother would eat after they were done. If there was nothing left, their mother would just drink some dishwater and consider it as eating. Later, he swore to the heavens and his ancestors that one day, when he was successful, he would definitely let his mother eat good food every day. Before he took the imperial examinations, he helped others copy books and earned money to buy ingredients for his mother to cook. Then when he took the imperial examinations, he actually passed. Then while he was an official, he used his salary to buy all kinds of food for his mother, wife and children. As long as he was at home, he wouldn't let others cook. When it became a habit, he would feel uncomfortable if he didn't cook for a day. No matter where he became an official, he had to consider what the local food could be eaten, so that when he brought his family there, they could eat delicious food. He was frugal in his daily life. If his clothes were torn, his wife would mend them. He was not allowed to throw away leftovers. After all, his mother used to drink the dishwater. If he threw away the leftovers, he was afraid of being struck by lightning. When he arrived at Wenshan, he found that there were many wild animals. However, the county was poor, far worse than before. In the past, he could always get some benefits from other places, but there was nothing in Wenshan County. He really wanted to be greedy, but his mother wouldn't let him. She said that the commoners had a hard life, and if he spent this money, he would sooner or later suffer retribution. He would rather continue drinking the dishwater than eat the food bought with the greedy money. Otherwise, he would starve to death. Therefore, Wang Chang changed his method when he felt that his salary was not enough. He went to 3 good restaurants in the county to help. After he earned money, he went back to buy ingredients and cooked for his family. With his good skills, he lived well for the past few years. Every year, he could cook bear paws for his mother twice. Then, with the arrival of Gongsun Moyu, he found that he couldn't beat him. Fortunately, Gongsun Moyu was capable, so he put down the matters in the county and focused on cooking. I really didn't do anything bad. Wang Chang promised again. You still say you didn't do anything bad? This is considered inaction. Fortunately, Gongsun Moyu came. Otherwise, the commoners in the county would have been cheated to death by you. Xiaobei pointed at Wang Chang and said, I plead guilty. I deserve to die. Wang Chang lowered his head. Xiaobei sighed. Aya. He reached out and grabbed Xiao Yuan's shoulder, shaking it back and forth. Xiao Yuan, why do we have such a hard life? Can't we encounter a simpler case? Investigate the evidence and chop off the head. Everyone is nimble. Look at what kind of people we met. When we investigated at the seaside, they were so capable that we could only give them a warning. When we investigated at Fengzhou, it was a fellow who was also used. Moreover, he was slick. It's the same now. You said you killed him, but he was filial. He also knows how to be thrifty. Moreover, he helped the restaurant to cook, which can be considered to have improved the food conditions of some people. But if you don't teach him a lesson, he hasn't done anything for the past few years. He only thinks about how to cook good food. It's too torturous. Xiao Yuan felt the same. He nodded and comforted Xiaobei. This is life. He won't be able to be a county magistrate. Why don't we send him to the front? Why? Let him do business? Xiaobei pursed his lips and asked. Let him go to the front to study the ingredients there. In the future, when we conquer the place, we will develop it. Food is the most important thing to the people. Let him go there and try. Xiao Yuan suggested. Xiaobei thought for a moment and said unhappily, It's enough to have brother. Didn't brother cook for us before? He said that the food that might appear there in the future is called curry or something. It's disgusting just thinking about it. I admit that he has been ambitious since he was young. He cooks well, But it depends on who he is compared to. His knife skills are good, but is he as pretty as brother when he's throwing knives? When frying pork and fish, it's nothing more than roasting the pork slightly to remove the moisture. When wrapping the fish, the inner layer of the pork is smeared with starch to moisturize it. If the weather is cold, the frozen fish is used. After frying it, it will be crispy on the outside and tender on the inside like juice. Right, County Magistrate Wang? Wang Chang was listening by the side. In the beginning, he was nervous when he heard the two of them deciding his life and death. When he heard Xiao Bei's method, he immediately forgot about his nervousness and asked in surprise. You? How? How did you know? I have an exclusive secret recipe. The soup in the buns is just frozen first. My family's recipe is not leaked to outsiders. Pui. My family runs a restaurant between the clouds and the water, and they have served soup dumplings many years ago. You think you are good at it, but have you eaten the real soup dumplings? My brother's food is the best delicacy in the world, Xiao Bei said proudly. I will definitely ask for advice when I have the time, Wang Chang replied unconvinced. You have the time, but my brother doesn't. Right, I almost forgot. Your brother is Xiao Bao. He won't play with me. Wang Chang appeared very depressed. The difference in status was too great. Find a place to rest first. We will talk about your matter later. Don't worry, you won't die. At most, you will suffer a little. Gong Sun Moyu, think of a plan and tell us later. If we can't solve it, we can look for brother and sister. I believe that brother and sister are definitely better than you. Xiao Bei, who realized that he still couldn't directly kill the officials, quickened his pace. At the same time, he felt that this was good. It meant that there were fewer problems with the officials in Tang Dynasty. If there were officials everywhere that deserved to die, Tang Dynasty would be in danger. Chapter 1188. There were all kinds of houses in the county. Some were made of wood, some were made of bamboo, and some were made of mud with thatch. The streets were also very narrow, not to mention compared to Chang, and it was even worse than an ordinary village. The main road could only accommodate 2 carriages side by side. The people who came later were worried that if someone happened to be walking on the road, where would the person hide? My county has decided to build a 4-lane road within a year, and ensure that the road is sturdy, regardless of rain or drought. County Magistrate Wang, you don't have to say any more. There are houses by the roadside. If the road is to be built, the houses will be demolished. If we want to build, we should build the road leading to the outside first. The county will deal with it first. When the days are better in the future, the people will naturally choose a spacious place to build their houses. Xiao Bei was too embarrassed to tell Wang Chang directly that he had no authority to build the road. He was about to leave the position of county magistrate and Gong Sun Moyu would take over his position. Wang Chang lowered his head and did not say anything. Gong Sun Moyu asked, "Where are you going to rest?" "Find a spacious place and set up our tents. I can see that you don't have a good place to settle us down. Where is the spacious place in the county? If you want to talk about spacious, it's naturally outside the city. If it's inside the city, there's a place for the school." Gong Sun Moyu thought for a while and gave a place, the school. Xiao Bei waved his hand. "Let's go to the school." The large group of people and horses started to move towards the school. The 9 children kept frowning. There was a sewage ditch by the roadside, just in front of the houses or shops. It was originally covered with wooden planks or stones, but because of the lack of maintenance, many of the ditches were exposed. They could clearly see the black mud in the ditch, and some white things that were soaking in it. As there was no rain for the past 2 days, the things in the ditch could not be flushed out. They were piled up there to ferment and grow mold, causing flies to fly around constantly. There were also unknown fungi growing around the wooden houses. There were all kinds of grass on the mud houses. It seemed that the owner was not in the mood to care. A maid wanted to run to the road in front to help with the incense, but was stopped by Xiao Bei and others. She said that she was not that precious. Although the smell was not good, it was real. In fact, the little ones were worried that once they used the incense, they would distance themselves from the locals. The smell was bad, but it was not easy to get back the people's hearts. Not to mention that it was just a sewage ditch. Even if it was a dung soup, when the local people entered, he and the others would have to follow. Moreover, they would have to be the kind of people who would chat and laugh and never leave each other's side. Zhang Fang tugged on Gong Sunmoyu's sleeves, and when Gong Sunmoyu turned his head, she said, "The only thing that's lacking is the hygiene. My house is very clean now, no one pees everywhere." 2 large latrines were built at home. Not only was the village clean, but there was also a lot of fertilizer. My family is in the mountains of Wing Prefecture. It's a big stronghold. My father told me about it. Only then did Gong Sunmoyu remember that the little ones were not all from Sanshui County. There were also people from other tribes. They were even more independent than the Wenshan tribe. Normal officials could not control them, for example, Ani, who was also beside him. The main reason is that the medical conditions are not good enough. There are only 2 doctors who have just graduated and a few apprentices sent by the imperial court from the medical academy. The medicinal herbs they brought with them have been used up. Now they are using soup medicine. Speaking of which, it's not easy for people to enter the medical academy now. They need to learn 2 systems. They need to know how to use the stethoscope. Once the stethoscope is broken, they need to immediately take the arm's pulse. When the medicine from the pharmaceutical factory is used up, they need to write down the herbal prescription. Gong Sunmoyu explained the current situation. It was not that they did not want to do a good job in medical hygiene, but that there were not enough doctors. Zhang Fang was obviously not satisfied with this answer. "You are shirking your responsibility. I don't care if it's easy for doctors or not. That's their problem. Although it's 2 systems, it's actually 1. If you insist on opposing them, of course it's 2 systems. Without doctors, without medical staff, what does it have to do with hygiene? Wenshan has many minerals, gypsum and lime, which can be used for sterilization. Is it difficult to build a large latrine?" "Yes, I didn't consider it thoroughly." Gong Sunmoyu nodded and admitted. He did not explain that he had been busy helping the locals become rich. Jianjia's people did not need to explain. If you dare to say that you were negligent, then you were not capable enough. The little ancestors of the Zhang family and Wang family also did not consider the difficulty of the process. They only needed to know the result. It was not that they were unreasonable, but they were used to overcoming any difficulties. When did their brothers and sisters complain? At this moment, Gong Sunmoyu's heart was full of piety and awe. He decided that after he became the county magistrate, he would consider the problems in the county more comprehensively and in more detail. He did not want to weaken Jianjia's reputation. They walked all the way to the front of the county yamen. The place seemed to be much more spacious. The yamen's door was pushed back more than 10 meters. Although the blue stone in front of the door was also damaged, it was still flat. However, there were no stone lions in the yamen, nor were there any drums for the people to play. The left and right doors were no longer painted. A few small wild bees had settled down in the holes of the doors. There was obviously a big green insect on the stairs that was slowly being dragged by ants to their home. They continued to walk forward and finally saw a 2-story house. It was a restaurant. The sign hanging in front of the door was fluttering in the wind. A man dressed as a waiter got a small stool and sat at the door, holding his chin and curiously looking at the team. When he saw the rice seedling flag fluttering together with the sign above the team, he stood up immediately, his eyes shining. His legs were trembling, he did not know whether to walk forward or hide in the house. The county magistrate, Wang Chang, had a good relationship with this restaurant. He introduced, "Ishan Pavilion is the best restaurant in the county. The homebrewed local wine has the best taste. It is soft but not greasy, spicy but not spicy. It has a lingering aftertaste. Even if you drink too much, your head will not hurt." "Alright, stop bragging. I have never heard of anyone who drank too much not having a headache. They can drink too much because of alcohol. How can one's head not hurt when there is alcohol?" Xiao Bei did not stop and continued to walk forward. "Alcohol is purer than other wines," Wang Chang explained. "Is medical alcohol pure or not? Other than distilled water, there is only alcohol. Drink it and see if your head hurts. The best house in the county is actually a restaurant. Tell me, you are the county magistrate. Xiao Bei did not continue to talk to Wang Chang. Instead, he expressed his dissatisfaction to Gong Sun Moyu. Gong Sun Moyu paused for a moment. No, the best restaurant is this restaurant. The best house is definitely not this. Then I will see which house is the best. Xiao Bei began to consider whether he should replace Gong Sun Moyu and get a few people from the academy to help build Wenshan. After walking slowly for nearly half an hour, Xiao Bei finally suppressed the idea of replacing Gong Sun Moyu when he saw the scenery in front of him. He saw 6 three-story buildings made of a mixture of mud bricks, bamboo, and wood. The distance between each building was at least 30 meters. At the very front, there was a beautiful bamboo fence. The fence at the entrance was relatively high, and there were 2 thick and long logs standing there. Together, the logs supported a horizontal board with the words Wenshan School, written in large letters. The first half of the couplet on the right read, "The wind whistles through the 4 seasons, chilling people to the bone." The second half of the couplet on the left read, "The sound of books will purify and warm the hearts of people for eternity." Xiao Bei and the others narrowed their eyes and smiled. Just as Gong Sun Moyu said, the place was big enough. At a glance, the field in front was about 400 meters long and 200 meters wide. There were seesaws, slides, swings, and everything else. Children as small as wearing open crotch pants and as big as 1.5 meters tall were running around and playing. The most important thing was that all the children were wearing the same cloth and the same color. It was obvious that they were all custom-made. Wenshan County was poor. One could tell by looking at the road and the clothes the locals wore. It was amazing that such a poor place had such a beautiful school. Especially when it was impossible to build a school in a day. It would take at least half a year. However, it was winter a year ago. How could a mud brick house be built in winter? This meant that Gong Sun Moyu started building the school not long after he arrived. The problem was, where did the money come from? Not bad, not bad. We will borrow the school field first. When we leave, we will give you a borrowing fee. Xiao Bei decided to rest in the school. No need, no need. The registrar, who had not had a chance to speak, finally spoke up. Xiao Bei glared at him with his watery eyes. Who doesn't need it? Do you think I am compensating you? You have such a thick face. You are using the children's benefits to curry favor with your superior, right? Remember, we adults must not violate the children's benefits. Even animals know how to protect their calves, let alone humans. I know my mistake, I know my mistake. The registrar, who had just had a chance to speak, repeatedly agreed. However, he cursed in his heart. Aren't you also a child? Why are you pretending to be an adult? Xiao Yuan suggested. Don't give the money. What if it is misappropriated? If he dares, I will take his life. You are right. Giving the money and going out to buy it, it is a waste of effort. The weather is getting warmer. Send a few carts of silk to make clothes to cool down. Then send 1,000 boxes of various canned food, as well as oil, seasonings, refined salt. Our family's Coimbu in Jili province is seaweed. Also, send 1,000 caddies of dry goods. Let me tell you, if any unrelated person dares to touch the things given to the children, don't blame me for not warning you. I will chop you up. I will personally use a guillotine. If anyone doesn't believe me, try it. See if I dare. Xiao Bei glared at him. His cute eyes swept back and forth. Whoever he looked at lowered their heads. No one was willing to try. What was there to be afraid of? His sister would kill people with a smile and write with human blood. After saying that, Xiao Bei suddenly thought of a very important matter. She asked Gong Sun Moyu. If you don't use the resources behind you, where will you get the money to build the school? Gambling. Gong Sun Moyu answered with a single word. He organized his words and said, I gamble with the literati and businessmen in Izhou. We gamble on poems, couplets, calligraphy, painting, charades, and so on. And you win? Xiao Bei thought this was fun. Gong Sun Moyu nodded. I gamble based on the people. I don't look for those who are really capable. I only look for those whose families are rich and powerful. I bet with those who think that they have studied under a great scholar. To them, gambling is a great knowledge, but to us who graduated from Jianjia, It is just a basic skill. Every time I win, the gap is not big. Earning money is really fast. If not for the fact that I still have things to do in the county, I really want to stay in Ijo and play with them every day. That's great. The 9 of us have decided to find time to go to Ijo and gamble. We have to go back and ask our brothers and sisters if they have any tricks. It will be embarrassing if we lose. Gongsun Moyu, how much money did you get from gambling? Just enough to build the school? Xiaobei found an interesting way to make money. Chapter 1189. When Gongsun Moyu heard Xiaobei's question, he was stunned for a moment before he reacted. He was afraid that he would fork out money. He had said that he was from an ordinary family. In the future, there would be many kinds of expenses in the school. If there was not enough money, it would delay the children. Moreover, the little ancestors of the main family were very rich and could take out money to subsidize the children of the Tang Empire. It was said that it was an agreement with Her Majesty. Every year, a portion of the candy house's income would be used on the children, and the candy house would be exempted from taxes. However, it was said that the money they took out last year was much more than what was stated in the agreement. His family's intelligence said that wherever the children were suffering, they would allocate money. They usually ate and used the family's food and had no place to spend money. For example, if there was a flood, the imperial court would take out some money and reduce taxes. The Zhang family and Wang family were responsible for the distribution of supplies, and the little fellow was responsible for the children's lives after the disaster. Thinking about it, Gongsun Moyu sighed. He thought that these little fellows lived in rich families. How could the children of ordinary families be willing to spend so much money? Not to mention that they did not have money, they would keep it even if they had money. Putting aside his thoughts, Gongsun Moyu replied, they supported the county's education with more than 4,100 strings of coins. I spent some of it mainly, such as organizing the poetry gathering. The accounts are a little messy, so I did not count them. Anyway, I won't embezzle my own money. After all, I won the money, so it's reasonable for me to spend it myself, right? The kids nodded, indicating that Gongsun Moyu was right. Taking out the money one was a favor, but not taking it out was a duty. Just because someone donated 100 strings of coins, one couldn't investigate them and say that they had a net worth of 100,000 strings of coins. Usually, they would eat a few hundred strings of coins for a meal. Why didn't they save a little and donate it? It was too shameless to speak like that. Of course, when it was time to donate money, you have to take the initiative to donate. It was not that it was wrong to have money, but that you live in this society and have to make choices. When you count on the law to protect your interests, you have to let more people agree with the law first. Otherwise, when people go crazy from poverty, overthrow the regime and then cut you down, who can you reason with? You should leave some money for yourself to enjoy. Xiaobei agreed and said, do you still need money? We have money. Our money is used for this kind of thing. Otherwise, why would people be so enthusiastic when they see us? As long as they are not stupid, there is always a reason for love and hate. If we can buy other people's smiles and support with money, we have the ability to spend it and are willing to spend it. The surrounding locals didn't expect Xiaobei to be so straightforward, but they didn't feel disgusted when they heard it. Everyone understood the logic. If you treat me well, I'll treat you well. Children of Rushui, if you give me candy, I'll play with you. Yes, we are lacking a lot. After this year, it will be better next year. Next year, the county's revenue will increase, and so will the local people's income. It will increase by several times, or even dozens of times. The location of the school didn't cost any money as the county directly allocated it. The 6 buildings of the school didn't cost any money either, as the locals built them themselves. I just took the lead and shouted a few words. Money was spent on writing brushes, ink, paper, and inkstone, as well as pencils, rulers, and other teaching tools, as well as clothes for the 4 seasons. Children grew up quickly, and they were always playing around, so the clothes were worn out just as quickly. The rest was food. In the past, children only needed to fill their stomachs, and they could persevere even if they weren't very hungry. Now the situation is orthodox learning. The intensity is high, and the nutrition needs to keep up. Although children are young, they eat no less than adults. They eat rice for the whole night, attend 2 classes, and go outside to play between classes. When they come back hungry, they immediately have to arrange for a meal. Gong Sun Moyu wasn't stupid enough to ask Fatty for help. If he didn't have money, he wouldn't say he had money. Besides, it wasn't shameful to ask Xiaobei and the rest for money. They had a lot of money, and it didn't matter who he gave it to. Hearing that Gong Sun Moyu wanted money, Xiaobei was happy. There was no other way. He had too much money and couldn't spend it. How much do you want? Xiaobei asked expectantly. 8,000 strings of cash. Gong Sun Moyu gave a number without hesitation. So much? What are you spending it for? Xiaobei didn't believe that the children of Wenshan County could spend so much money in less than a year. Actually, they don't need it in the school. There are 690 children in the school in this county. Some of the children are too young, and the family is worried. I plan to let them send all the children above the age of 1.5 here in the future, and arrange for people to take care of them. It's much better than letting the adults take care of them at home. The number of children who die in the school is definitely less than those who die at home. Now, all the children in the county's school live in the school. Otherwise, why would 6 buildings be built? There are places for the children to live in. The advantage of the children living in the county is that it's convenient to see a doctor, and there are teachers to teach them. Most of the food they eat is bought locally. I want 8,000 strings of cash because I want to organize people to take the children out for a look when the county isn't busy in a few days. Some people in the county have never been out in their lives, and I don't want our children to be cooped up in the same place for the rest of their lives. Let them go to Izhou Prefecture and compare with the local children. Izhou Prefecture is much better than us. Only after they compete will they know their shortcomings and work hard. Gong Sun Moyu said with a look of yearning. Just based on his words, he was much better than many county magistrates. He was knowledgeable and could take root in the local reality. Such officials were rare. Yes. A sense of shame is close to courage, Xiao Yuan agreed. Xiaobei blinked. Where did you find a local teacher? From Izhou by swindling. Oh no, exchanging. Yes, exchanging. I'm the deputy county magistrate, but I also graduated from Jinjiao Academy. I'm also a Jinshe graduate. Not all scholars can pass the Jinshe examination. As for me, I asked them to teach under the condition of knowing the tricks of the Jinshe examination. Some of them didn't even have the status of a scholar, so I promised to teach them. I took an hour to teach them every day, and they went to teach the children in the county. With such an exchange, there were many teachers in the county. Gong Sun Moyu answered embarrassedly. It seemed that his method was slightly improper, because in addition to having the ability to take the imperial examination, one must first obtain the approval of the officials. Except for the outstanding people who were really knowledgeable, most of them were basically the same, so one needed to have connections. The reason why Jinjiao Academy was powerful was not only because of the support from the Zhang family, Wang family, and Baigo. More importantly, many of the students who graduated from Jinjiao Academy were stronger than the examiners. The examiners had no choice but to admit them, unlike other examinees who only knew how to talk on paper. It was like starting a business after graduating from primary school. 20 years later, with a net worth of tens of billions, he could find a university and ask for a doctorate in economics. Would you dare to refuse? If you felt that the other party was not qualified, they could earn tens of billions. If you were good, how much could you earn? Xiaobei and the others did not think about the background. Instead, they were deeply inspired, especially Zhang Gang and Zhang Fang. Previously, their father said that they could not find a good teacher in the city, and they were cheated of a tiger skin. According to Gong Sun Moyu's method, could they also get someone to teach the children? Very good here. Xiaobei rummaged through his bag and took out a 1 luo note. Don't give me 8,000 strings of coins. I'll give you 10,000 strings of coins. Write a receipt for me, and it needs to be stamped. What are you looking at? I have a lot of money in my bag, so I can't let you do it. Gong Sun Moyu was speechless. She was really rich. How much money did she put in her bag? He saw a lot of money just now. Why don't you save it? There will be interest. Gong Sun Moyu felt that it was not worth it to keep the money on him, so he reminded Xiao Bei. Save the whole money. It's small change. Carry it with you. Xiao Bei said indifferently, looking at the children who were running toward the classroom. In fact, she was pretending. She had more than 200,000 strings of coins in her bag, and the change was not so small. Before coming here, she was afraid that the bank here would not be easy to withdraw money, so she exchanged it from the capital. Everyone had it in their bag. After all, the bank could circulate money, but they were not qualified to print money. Gong Sun Moyu did not know the details, and only thought that she was rich. His hand holding the 1 luo note could not help but tremble. It was not only money, but also a responsibility. 10,000 strings of coins. He must find a way to let the children live comfortably, play comfortably, and learn more. He estimated that there would be a lot left. The children in the school started class, and Xiao Bei and the others set up tents in the playground. When the class ended, the children could not continue to play in the playground. The group of people rested, and those who had rested yesterday started to do their duty. The 9 children also went to sleep. The people in the county temporarily put aside the affairs of the yamen, and found a tea shop opposite the school courtyard to drink tea, waiting for Xiao Bei and the others to wake up for lunch. I've decided to cook personally, Wang Chang said solemnly while holding a teacup. I think it's okay. The registrar supported. I object. Gong Sun Moyu said. Everyone looked over. When the patrol envoys eat lunch, they will definitely eat with 690 children. Can County Magistrate Wang cook for 700 people? Gong Sun Moyu gave a reason. Wang Chang took a deep breath and shook his head. Obviously, he had not practiced cooking in a big pot. The food for 700 people would tire him to death, and it was too late to start now. If we eat together, we will change the dishes for lunch and pick the better ones. Wang Chang thought of another idea. I object. Without waiting for the others to support, Gong Sun Moyu objected again. If the patrol envoys eat with the children will definitely talk about it. If the patrol envoys hear about it, what will they think? Will they think that the food they eat is very bad, so they fake it today? The people around nodded. It was really possible. Then you think of a way. Wang Chang asked. Cook according to yesterday's lunch. Originally, we agreed to not repeat the same dish for the next 3 days. If we cook according to yesterday's dishes, the children would definitely ask why they ate the same dish as yesterday. The patrol envoys understood immediately. This is what we usually feed the children. Then we will add 1 more dish. If the children are satisfied, the patrol envoys will also be happy. Gong Sun Moyu thought of a good idea. The others all gave him a thumbs up. Brilliant, really brilliant. Sure enough, when Xiao Bei and the others were woken up for lunch, they directly asked to eat with the children in the school. The other children were overjoyed. When they saw the dishes they were allowed to choose, they immediately told Xiao Bei and the others that this was what they ate for lunch yesterday. There were a total of 4 dishes, 2 meat and 2 vegetables. The children could choose 1 meat and 1 vegetable. There was also a bowl of soup and 2 small salted vegetables. After the selection of the dishes, someone brought in a basin of oily red braised pork. The children cheered happily. Xiao Bei and the others could not help but tremble. It was too greasy. What kind of pig was this? 3 inches of fatty meat, and a little bit of lean meat. Gong Sun Moyu, come here, come here. We will let you eat these few portions of red braised pork. You just woke up and can't eat too much. Tell me about the county's plan. Eat the meat, we will talk as we eat. Eat quickly. Xiao Bei called Gong Sun Moyu over and pushed the meat over. Chapter 1190. If it was Gong Sun Moyu in the past, he would not be able to eat the braised pork either. But now he opened his mouth and ate a big piece. He had not improved his life for a long time. The 1.5 years in Wenshan were not easy. Except for the first 2 months of fighting with the county magistrate, he spent the rest of his time running around the village and outside. He even had to bring his own food to the people's houses. The people did not have enough food. His family was not rich. After he graduated from the academy, he He gave most of the money he earned after the imperial examinations to his family. He had younger brothers and sisters at home. So now that he had a chance to eat meat, he stuffed it into his stomach. Anyway, the little ones would not like it. Soon he finished the meat. Xiao Yuan pushed his own braised pork over. Gong Sunmoyu did not continue to eat. He picked up a piece and chewed slowly. He nodded gratefully to Xiao Bei and said, "It will be better in the future. Don't wait. I'll send dozens of boxes of canned food for you to eat. If you can't keep up with the nutrition, you will be tired out first. Who will help the people then? When you become the county magistrate in the future, you will be busy with more things. The goal is not to tire you out. Let me tell you first. No matter rich or poor, you have to educate the people well." Xiao Yuan looked at the cut on Gong Sunmoyu's hand holding the chopsticks and said with distress. It was definitely not only because of the wind and cold, but also because of malnutrition. Officials who were capable and sincere to the people had to be taken care of and loved. Okay. Gong Sunmoyu did not refuse. He also felt tired recently. Especially after he finished the work at the beginning of spring, he could find a place to lie down and sleep. It was not like this before. He ate 2 pieces of meat in a row. He paused his chopsticks and said, "In the past, I wanted to rely on myself. I planned to continue to expand the breeding of ducks. I would buy half-grown ducks and raise them for a few months to lay eggs. Then I would make century eggs. The county is rich in sea resources. It is suitable for raising ducks. What about now?" Xiao Bei tried not to look at the braised pork and lowered his head to ask. Gong Sunmoyu did not answer Xiao Bei directly. Instead, he continued to talk about his previous plans. "There are still a few good minerals in the county. I was thinking of finding a businessman to take a look. In addition, I will plant various vegetables in the late season. Although the vegetables are produced late at the beginning, and I will lose money, when the price rises, it will be more cost-effective. Also, try to plant a few medicinal herbs that are easy to take care of. After the profits are generated next year, we will increase the planting area. After 2 years, I will be relieved. At that time, whether I leave or stay, I will not have any regrets." Xiao Bei had already poured the soup into his bowl, and was halfway into his mouth when he stopped. "It's okay. Since I want to use the resources now, I don't intend to find merchants to mine them first, and then process them outside. I asked the technicians to come over and build a cement factory in the area. The cement produced would be sent to the outside along the Wenjiang River. Selling the finished product would be more profitable than selling the raw materials. As for the environmental pollution, I'll think of a way to find a remote place to build a factory. At most, I'll just throw that piece of land away. For example, when the Great Tang Bank borrows money, doesn't the Imperial Court have a plan to support it? I used my connections to apply for it first. Buy more piglets and build a large pig house area next to the sea. Add the mud in the sea and make a large biogas pool. Use charcoal to burn gypsum and continue to deliver." When it came to business, Gong Sunmoyu's chopsticks stopped moving and his eyes lost focus. His entire body and mind were devoted to the plan. If one looked at him from the side, one would find that he was the most handsome at this moment. The people around him also stopped what they were doing and quietly looked at him and listened to him speak. A few local girls who came to help stared at him without blinking. A serious man was indeed attractive. Xiao Bei and the others were stunned and puzzled. They felt that Gong Sunmoyu's expression was making a fuss over nothing. It was just a plan. Did he have to be so serious? When her brother and sister discussed national affairs together, they were relaxed and could even joke. Okay, maybe everyone is different. Xiao Bei muttered her thoughts and then smiled embarrassedly. She suggested, "Raising cows is not good. Our county has pasture resources. Moreover, cows are easy to sell and the beef is delicious." "Oh no, it's the beef that accidentally dies is delicious." After making the suggestion, Xiao Bei looked around guiltily. The beef that she ate naturally could not be completely dependent on the cow to die by itself. Other people did not care about how the cow died, and had tacitly agreed to the benefits and enjoyment of the privileged class. "We don't have enough money. I can't use too many resources. We have to leave some for others. There is a lot of pasture. Last year, because of some restrictions, we did not implement it. Today, we plan to produce a large number of Qingchuan and cooperate with the garrison in Pengzhou to exchange their eliminated warhorses. Then we will transport the warhorses to Chengdu and rent them out as laborers. We will use the money to buy supplies. When Gong Sunmoyu spoke, he glanced at Wang Chang and the registrar. The two people who were looked at could not help but tremble and feel weak in the knees. Last year, when Gong Sunmoyu wanted to organize the Qingchuan, they gathered the laborers to build the river one day in advance. The timing of the annual labor of the common people was very appropriate. Thinking of that, they were worried and impressed. They were worried that Gong Sunmoyu would tell Xiao Bei and the others. They were impressed because Gong Sunmoyu did not show the slightest anger or frustration in the face of such a situation. Instead, he used the opportunity when a large number of people were building the irrigation system to release a lot of bamboo rafts. Then they were transported to Shu County in Izhou and burned into bamboo charcoal in a remote place. A few months ago, they were sold in Izhou City in the winter and made a lot of money. They ordered a lot of iron chains and were about to be transported back to the county. They were going to build a mixed iron and bamboo bridge over the Wenjiang River. After all, iron was too expensive, and the money was far from enough. What a good move to beat them at their own game. They could not help but be impressed. Yes, County Magistrate Gong Sun, speaking of which, I am also. Shut up. Xiao Bei glared at the registrar who just spoke. This time, we don't want to kill people. Don't force me. You keep silent now. I will forgive you if I am happy with what Gong Sunmoyu said. You can't hide the fact that you are doing bad things behind the scenes. Don't think that I don't know that some things are referring to you and Wang Chang. As expected, the registrar did not dare to speak again. He thought that he could fool him, but he did not expect that Xiao Bei was also a shrewd person. Turning his head, Xiao Bei smiled and said to Gong Sunmoyu, "You know the actual situation. I gave you a blind idea. What other ideas do you have?" On the way here, we met a group of people who asked for 2 water pumps. We agreed, but the problem of electricity is not easy to solve. Originally, we wanted to rely on manpower and animal power to generate electricity. Tell me about this. No, the fields on the mountain are useless. Gong Sunmoyu rejected. It is not cost-effective to build a small hydropower station in this county. The fields on the mountain have been planted this year. Tomorrow, I will let them plant medicinal herbs. If it is really not possible, we will use bamboo to attract the mountain spring. Okay. Xiao Bei was not familiar with the local situation, so he followed the good advice. He would send someone to tell the people he met. It was not that he did not want to give, but that Gong Sunmoyu did not want it. Go on, what else do you want to do? Xiao Bei asked again. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who had already arrived at Wing Prefecture, looked very leisurely at the moment. Last night, they drank with the people of various villages and woke up at 7 in the morning. They only had a bowl of porridge and would have a good meal at noon. Now the two of them were standing upstairs and looking at the busy street through the window. When they arrived yesterday, many people had already started moving from outside to the city. When An-yi was the provincial governor, he made many businessmen leave. Now that they heard that Zhang Xiaobao and Cuckoo were coming, the businessmen began to come back. They believed that even if the two of them left, there would be no more problems in Wing Prefecture. One by one, they brought their families and formed a huge team to enter the city. The houses, which were originally covered with spider webs, were cleaned up again. Everyone's faces were filled with happy smiles when they were working. Not only people came back, but also many goods from outside. Looking at the crowd and imagining the prosperous scene in the future, Chang Hu's smile never stopped. He said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "When the war starts, Wing Prefecture can be used as a logistics base. I believe that many people will settle down there." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other and said, "We need to build the river. It's still not convenient to transport goods by land." River? Where does the river go? Chang Hu was confused. The river was built, and it was the last to enter the Yangtze River. What did it have to do with the front line? To transport the things in the mountains out, Zhang Xiaobao answered. Not going to war? Chang, who was still thinking about the war. Yes, but not in a hurry. We'll stay in Wing Prefecture for half a month first, and then go sightseeing all the way there. It'll be fine as long as we can arrive before September. When the autumn harvest comes, we'll transport the surplus food from other places, and the local specialties out. We need a lot of people for the big trade. Wang Wan added. Chang, who was even more confused. He lowered his head and pondered for a while, but still didn't understand. He said, "Didn't we say that we would start the war before the autumn harvest and catch them off guard? If you don't start the war earlier, they'll have all the food." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan laughed mysteriously. After a long time, one would find that they were laughing sinisterly. "Tell me, what's the plan?" Chang Hu urged. "When we come, the war will start. Many cannibals will know that we're in Wing Prefecture, and then we'll go to the front line. What will they think?" Zhang Xiaobao asked. Chang Hu immediately answered. "Of course, they'll be prepared for war. When you come, they'll be very scared and need to guard against you." "How will they prepare for war?" Zhang Xiaobao asked again. "Of course, they'll gather their forces at the border and wait for you to take action. They'll try their best to defeat you or not lose too much land." "Oh, I understand. Once they do as I say, they won't have anyone to harvest the food. You'll use the cannons to cover them, kill their people, and occupy their land, right?" Chang Hu rolled his eyes and felt that he had figured it out. This was a good idea. Before the two armies fought, they could torment their opponents first. Although they would give the other side time to gather their forces, they could still use the cannons. Zhang Xiaobao was still smiling. After a while he said, "If we do as you say, how can my cuckoo be the vice principal of the military academy? Why would His Majesty hold the position of a dean and teach everything to my Yawan?" "Huh? I didn't say that. Then you want to wait until next year?" Chang Hu couldn't keep up with the train of thought. He couldn't guess how the war would start. "We'll fight this year, and we'll beat them hard for a few months. War is unpredictable, and water is unpredictable. We'll fight and not fight. That's why we're here in person." Zhang Xiaobao's words made it seem like he had understood everything, but in fact it was still a mystery. Chapter 1191. Chang Hu opened his mouth again but stopped himself. He just remembered that the strategy of the great Tang should be kept a secret, and he was not qualified to know. It was like how Xiaobao did not answer the political questions at the end of the imperial examinations. Who would dare to ask when it involved the foundation of the great Tang? "Xiaobao, you and Cuckoo pack up and go back to the stronghold to drink tonight. Everyone misses you. I remember that you were only this tall back then." Chang Hu gestured in front of his chest. "It has been a few years. If they see your backs, they won't be able to recognize you. Xiaobao, do you still need a younger brother or sister?" Chang Hu finally revealed his intentions. He wanted to continue stuffing people into Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's hands. He had a few wives and many children at home. Raising them by himself would definitely not be as good as giving them to the two of them. Zhang Xiaobao looked at Chang Hu with a different gaze until Chang Hu felt embarrassed. "Uncle, we are going to war. My matters are no less than Cuckoo's. The army is just a support. I have to do most of the planning. I can't even bring my own siblings. We can't do anything about the things you mentioned." "All right, forget it. Let's not talk about it. I am content with having Xiaofang and Xiaojiang. You are right. Cuckoo is good at using troops. Others might be afraid of her, but you are different. You kill without spilling blood. Now, the Tubo people will cry at the mention of your name." Seeing that the matter was not going to work, Chang Hu did not force it. Zhang Xiaobao was silent. Wang Wan covered her mouth and laughed. Chang Hu's words made sense. She led the army to fight against the Tubo people and won temporarily. If Xiaobao did not let go, the Tubo people would be wiped out. If it was not for the family, would he be the one who came up with the idea of destroying the foundation of the Tubo people? Seeing that the two of them did not speak, Chang Hu smiled and praised. "You don't know. Because Brother Yongcheng was in Izhou at that time, the people of Izhou came to Tubo to do business. The Tubo people have never dared to do business with them, and the price is fair." Uncle, don't always talk about Tubo. That place is now called Luozhou. It's not a problem to call it a Dao, but it has a small population. Luo province was rich in resources. Due to environmental factors, it had great strategic value. Why do I have to take that place down in one go? It's because I'm afraid that if I stop after a dozen fights, it'll take a lot of effort the next time. While the status of the other religions is still unstable, we should take back our great Tang as soon as possible. This will save us a lot of trouble in the future. The rest is an internal matter. We can take our time. Speaking of that, Zhang Xiaobao was also vexed. That place was big, and the population was small. In other words, when there was a war, the enemy could hide, and they had strategic depth. If he hadn't caught the other party off guard, followed up with the economic and crop strategy, and showed the guns and cannons later, when the other party was familiar with the area, they would have to pay a huge price if they wanted to take over the area. Even now, it was not easy to do so. If they moved all the people here, the local area would be empty. If they sent people from other places, such as Jiangnan, there would be no difference from sending them to their deaths. If 100 people were to live in a place for 2 years, it would be considered good if 10 of them could survive. If they maintain the status quo, they would have to strengthen the propaganda. Otherwise, it would be easy for the local people to have ideas of independence. Now they were afraid of both fighting and suffering. In addition, the people who went to help during the disaster had changed the minds of many locals. But who could guarantee that there were no ambitious people? How could Chang Hu know so many things? He just needed to take care of his own stronghold. When he heard Zhang Xiaobao say that the name was changed, he nodded, indicating that he had remembered it. Suddenly, he thought of something and asked expectantly, "Xiaobao, how long will you and Cuckoo fight? There are many good guys in the stronghold. Can you arrange for them to protect you?" Zhang Xiaobao shook his head regretfully. "No, we are not in charge of choosing people. The guards have to be tested. If the people in the stronghold are older, they can go and learn first. Then we will arrange their positions according to the situation." Seeing Chang Hu nod to show that he understood, he said, "There is no fixed number for how long the battle will last. At least 2 years. Yes, it's not good to fight with too much food. The place is big and there are many people." Chang Hu frowned, looking worried. "Uncle, it has nothing to do with too much food," Wang Wan interrupted. Chang Hu was stunned. "You fight with too much food? How long you fight has nothing to do with too much food. Then what's the deal with duosher? They are just partners. They are just gathering grass to hunt rabbits. If the domestic problem is solved in 1.5 years, we will fight for 1.5 years. If it is solved in 2 years, we will fight for 2 years. If 2 years are not enough, we will continue to fight with duosher." Wang Wan replied with a smile. Chang Hu did not know what domestic problems needed to be solved by fighting others, but he deeply felt the arrogance and unreasonableness of the two people in front of him. It was obvious that the two of them did not take duosher seriously. Duosher was really wrong to be beaten up this time. After thinking about it again, Chang Hu gave up. He was afraid that thinking too much would give him a headache. The situation was too strange. They had a problem in their own country, but they did not solve it. Instead, they went to fight others. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, of course, would not explain in detail to Chang Hu. If they really did, they would not be able to finish explaining in a day. They made an appointment with Chang Hu to go to the stockade to drink in the evening. The two of them strolled to the not very big river outside the city, intending to collect water to do an experiment on raising ornamental fish. Before they reached the river, a servant hurried over and reported, "Bai Go and Yao Chong are here." Zhang Xiaobao and Yao Chong looked at each other in shock. After a while, Zhang Xiaobao sighed heavily. Why are they not working on their economic intelligence system? Why are they here? I guess there is something. It is not clear in the telegram for fear of leaking the secret. Someone go get some sets of fishing equipment. Fortunately, we are going to stroll by the river. Otherwise, we would have to make a special trip. Wang Wan also sighed. The two of them could still run to Izhou. They must be in good health. According to the records in the book, the two of them had died many years ago. "Xiaobao Cuckoo, did you miss Grandpa?" The two of them did not wait for too long. When they were on the road into the mountains, Baigo's unique voice sounded. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at Baigo and Yao Cheng and were even more stunned. They were actually riding bicycles. It was obvious that the tires were rubber. Could it be that the two of them rode here from the capital? How tiring. Zhang Xiaobao sighed. If they don't ride all the time, others will be even more tired. The weight of the bicycle is not light, Wang Wan added. Then she quickly walked up to them. With a creak, Baigo pinched the front of the bicycle and touched the ground with his left foot. The bicycle drew an arc on the ground and stopped. He played with the wheel for a while. Grandpa Bai, you did a great job. If you do it a few more times on the cement ground, you can change the tire. Zhang Xiaobao walked up to him and helped him hold the handlebars. Baigo nimbly lifted his leg and got off the bicycle. He shook his head. Cement won't do. I've tried it before. I have to ride fast to shake it off. The friction is too high. Mud is better. There are grains of sand. I can change the sliding into rolling. Zhang Xiaobao. Yao Cheng looked much calmer, mainly because he looked very calm. After getting off the bicycle, he nodded to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, indicating that he was here. Have you eaten? Baigo swung his arms and asked casually. Yes. Have you two eaten? Zhang Xiaobao was waiting for a reply. If they said that they had not eaten, he would ask someone to cook immediately. Yao Cheng said directly, yes. Baigo said in detail. I had a big bowl of clear soup in the morning. It was made of seaweed. There was a 2-inch long prawn in it. It was very fresh. Actually, I was planning to save some space for lunch. Xiaobao, guess what I want to eat? Wang Wan immediately said. Grandpa Bai, do you want to eat fish? Did you catch it yourself? Cuckoo is such a sweet girl. I didn't take care of her for nothing when we were young. I was planning to eat that too. Is there a good fishing spot nearby? Baigo clapped his hands and praised Wang Wan happily. There is a place. Follow us. We will reach it in about 15 minutes. Wang Wan pointed in the direction of the river. In fact, she knew where the river was. It was not like she had never been here before. Zhang Xiaobao went to support Yao Cheng. Wang Wan supported Baigo. They chatted while walking to the river. In Wang Wan's heart, she was very grateful to Baigo. Without Baigo's help in the past, it would have taken her a few years to reach her current level. Baigo kept squeezing their family's technology. To be precise, he squeezed her and Xiaobao's technology to tell others that they were still useful and needed to be protected. At the same time, he also used the technology to convince Li Longji and the other officials. In the beginning, why did he always wander around the two families' territory and follow them when they went out? Wasn't it because his guards were more powerful than the guards at home? Although they didn't need them now, they couldn't forget this kindness. The only thing that annoyed him was that he had been too harsh on him at that time. He wanted to take away the technology that he had just figured out. Who asked him to not know that all the technology was developed by him and Xiaobao. He even thought that there was an expert behind the scenes who had contributed. See, thinking about that, it felt like yesterday. She didn't know what happened this time. Why did he come here personally? Wang Wan felt sentimental. As they chatted, they reached the river. There was a stone slab that was specially used for washing clothes. No one was washing clothes today, so they sat on the stone slab and fished. Baigo didn't bring a fishing rod, but he knew that Zhang Xiaobao had one. Sure enough, a large pile of things was brought over. Baigo and Yao Cheng started to pick and choose. They looked at each of them, as if they wanted to get a good result. Zhang Xiaobao knew that it was impossible to focus on fishing, so he casually picked up a fishing rod. He didn't even choose the bait. There was a ball of dough nearby, so he used it. He didn't throw the fishing rod, and just directly threw the hook into the water in front of him. Baigo picked for more than 10 minutes before nodding in satisfaction. He then took out an earthworm and put it on the hook. With a swish, he threw the hook into the water. He held the fishing rod with both hands and narrowed his eyes. But sometimes luck was more important than strength and equipment. Zhang Xiaobao was so casual, but in less than 2 minutes, the fishing rod sank. Zhang Xiaobao lifted the fishing rod, and a grass carp weighing about 2 kilograms appeared. Wang Wan helped to pick the fish. She also helped to change the dough of another color and threw it in. In less than a minute, a black fish weighing about 1 kilogram appeared. That's not right. Baigo stared at Zhang Xiaobao's fishing rod. The first one is a grass carp. You can catch it with the dough. The second one is a black fish. Why did you use the dough? How did it bite the hook? Zhang Xiaobao didn't pay attention to fishing. Hearing Baigo's question, he was also puzzled. Wang Wan explained. I put something in the dough. When I put it on the hook, I molded it into the shape of a small fish. Baigo nodded and said to Zhang Xiaobao. Cuckoo is right. Big fish eat small fish. Xiaobao, do you think it's because the big fish is too pitiful, or because the small fish is too weak? If there are too many big fish, can the small fish survive? Chapter 1192. Zhang Xiaobao was ready. It would be strange if Baigo didn't discuss business when he was fishing. Hearing Baigo's words, he said, Grandpa Bai is right. If there are big fish, there will be no small fish. Grandpa Bai, do you think the fishers will be happy if they encounter this situation? The fishers will be happy too. Good, that's good, but Xiaobao, can you guarantee that a pond with 1,000 fish of different sizes will end up with 1,000 big fish in the end? If there are only 100 big fish left, the other 900 fish will be gone. Baigo shook the rod twice and raised the hook. He found that the earthworms were gone and the fish were gone. He had to continue hanging the bait. He looked at Zhang Xiaobao and waited for his reply. Yao Chong didn't seem to hear the conversation. He was looking at his float. When the breeze blew, his hair and beard fluttered. He was very relaxed. The others who came with Yao Chong and Baigo stayed far away. They knew that the master had important national affairs to discuss. Mo Baojia looked down on fishing. It depended on who he was fishing with. If he was fishing with Zhang Xiaobao, he would have a big harvest every time. It was much more important than the fish. Zhang Xiaobao pretended to be thinking. In fact, he was thinking about what to cook for lunch. If there were enough fish, he could cook a fish feast. If the result was bad, he had to eat other dishes. He didn't know if his brothers and sisters could eat and sleep well. Until Baigo changed the bait twice, Zhang Xiaobao said under his expectant eyes. How about separating the big fish from the small fish? For example, black fish. Don't let other fish around it. Black fish also eat black fish. Baigo reminded. Yes, it eats its own kind. Then keep each black fish separately. Zhang Xiaobao came up with another idea. Can it still grow up? Won't it starve to death? Xiaobao, tell me something useful. Baigo began to interrogate. He realized that Zhang Xiaobao was just fooling around. He was clearly being careless. Just as Zhang Xiaobao was about to answer, the fishing rod bent and almost slipped out of his hand. He quickly grabbed the fishing rod and shouted at Wang Wan, "Get the net. This fish shouldn't appear in this river. It's so strange." Wang Wan reacted very quickly. With a swish, she put the net into the water, and then the river churned. When the net was lifted up, there was a fat fish that was still struggling inside. After weighing it twice, Wang Wan said, "It's at least 12 pounds. It's not that big. Finally, we have fish head soup to drink. I was thinking of finding a few crucian carps. Save me the trouble." Zhang Xiaobao helped to transfer the fish into another net. He rubbed his hands happily as he placed the fish into the river. Yao Chong, who had been silent all this time, moved his throat. Baigo also swallowed his saliva and said excitedly, "The fish soup made by Xiaobao is delicious." At noon, a dish was finished. Zhang Xiaobao put the bait again and returned to the topic of fishing. He said to Yao Chong and Baigo, "It's okay for the big fish to eat the small fish, as long as the small fish are not dead and live in the big fish's stomach. Maybe the small fish will eat more water plants than they usually eat. When the big fish and the small fish grow together, the fish farmer will be very happy." After listening to Zhang Xiaobao, Baigo lowered his head and thought for a while. He asked, "Do all the small fish have to be eaten by the big fish? If some small fish are not eaten by the big fish and can't compete with the small fish that are eaten by the big fish, will they starve to death?" "Yes, even the big fish are also dangerous. If they accidentally fall into the shallows, or eat the wrong thing, or even get bitten by other big fish, who can escape the reincarnation of life and death. The flower that never withers is a fake flower. Zhang Xiaobao didn't continue to think this time, because he found that Yao Chong had also caught a black fish. It seemed to be about 3 pounds. At noon, another dish was served. According to the current time, it was absolutely not a problem to catch 8 or 10 more fish. It was enough for an all-fish banquet. Naturally, there was no need to think about lunch. If Bai Go knew that Zhang Xiaobao was thinking about lunch, he would probably push Zhang Xiaobao into the river. Which was more important? Talk about fish, don't talk about flowers. Bai Go reminded him and let Zhang Xiaobao continue to talk about fish. If they talked about flowers, they would be at a disadvantage. Bai Go turned to Wang Wan and said, "Cuckoo, put 2 prawn baskets in the grass so that Xiaobao can fry them and dip them in salt and pepper." I have never figured out why Xiaobao's salt and pepper is different from others. It seems to be the same thing. Wang Wan nodded and gestured to the people next to her. She replied, "Because this isn't an exclusive recipe, a secret ancestral recipe. We are counting on it to make money." Cuckoo, your 3-year-old little nephew likes to eat soft-fried tenderloin and hand-grilled mutton. 3 years old. I remember when he taught you and Xiaobao in the pavilion in Zhuangzi in Sanshui County. You two were about the same age. Bai Go started to talk about food and stopped asking Zhang Xiaobao about fish for the time being. He began to recall. Wang Wan did not correct Bai Go's statement that there were 2 kinds of dishes in one mouth. She also seemed to recall the past and said with a sweet smile, "That was so good. Grandpa Bai, don't worry. My nephew's stomach will not be short. Later, I will ask someone to send 50 kilograms of salt and pepper to him, and seal it in a small bottle. After he finishes eating, you can send a telegram, and I will ask someone to send more." Bai Go nodded helplessly and asked Zhang Xiaobao, "Xiaobao, if too many fish die, what should we do with the river? We can't lack fish in the river." Zhang Xiaobao would not tell Bai Go that the different taste of salt and pepper was because they had been roasted in the bamboo tube. Otherwise, the whole Tang Empire would know it in a few days. Zhang Xiaobao said, "That's easy. Since you are afraid that there will not be enough fish, you can put more fry first and try not to let them fight for food. If you are afraid that there is not enough food for fish, you can put in crab seedlings and shrimp seedlings. It is not a good thing to have too many fish in a river. Even the river snail has its reason to exist." Bai Go did not say anything. He looked at Zhang Xiaobao and waited for him to continue. Zhang Xiaobao calmly pulled up another fish and continued. "The importance of the river lies in the fact that it provides nutrients for everything in the body. Most of the time, there is not much to do, unless there is something that has grown too much and has a problem. Only then will there be a need to do something personally. All the species in the river are a kind of cycle. As long as you maintain it well, the river will not become stagnant, and you can use all kinds of things at any time. But I think that the river is very dangerous now. If we don't do something about it, it will easily destroy the bank." Bai Go squeezed together the wrinkles on his face and looked very worried. Yao Chong also stopped what he was doing and looked at Zhang Xiaobao, hoping that he could come up with a good idea. Wang Wan glanced at Zhang Xiaobao. She knew that the economic intelligence personnel sent by the old men had recently collected information that there was a problem in the Tang Empire. The main problem should be in 3 aspects. First, the excessive concentration of material resources. Even though the land had been solved by other policies, other resources were still uncontrollable. Second, the scale of labor. The operation of capital had started to develop in other aspects. Work efficiency had increased and costs had decreased, but it had started to affect the small handicraft industry. When the same thing was produced, the cost of the factory was 2 copper coins. The individual handicraft worker was 4 copper coins. If they sold it for 3 copper coins, the individual would starve to death. Even if they sold it for 4 copper coins, they would just be doing charity for nothing. The third and most important point was the imbalance of income. It was reflected in the difference between employers and employees, between business and other industries, between technical and non-technical jobs, and between resource-rich and resource-poor areas. The first thing that was reflected in the above 3 points was marriage. Animals knew to choose a strong partner when mating, let alone humans. Then there was the relationship between neighbors. The result of not being controlled was that although everyone's lives were much better than before, they still felt that their lives were not as good as before. If the polarization was too severe, it could topple the regime. In truth, there were two other points: resource hoarding and price monopoly. However, the merchants did not dare to do so, afraid that if they did, Xiaobao would get angry and make a move on them. That would truly be a matter of life and death. Even if Xiaobao did not use administrative means, no merchant had the confidence to say that they were not afraid and clamored to compete with him. Let alone these merchants. Even those who knew a lot of things did not dare to play economic games with Xiaobao. It had to be known that the rules and laws of the various industries had been perfected, and Xiaobao could still find ways to cheat people. Some people could not be judged by common sense. Those who could become chairmen and presidents were very capable, but those who could become qualified international swindlers were also not free. If there is a war to fight, it will be very easy for Xiaobao to deal with it, Wang Wan said as she thought about it. War? Oh, so the two of you have been waiting for this opportunity. However, the war can only be solved for a while, but not for a lifetime. Bai Go suddenly understood. No wonder the two of them did not go directly to the front line to launch a huge attack, but instead came to Izhou for a stroll. It turned out that they were waiting for the domestic conflicts to intensify before sending troops. Those who could not find a good job were laborers. The production had to be speeded up, and the consumption of resources would increase. The focus of the people had turned to other aspects. One word: wait. The question is, how long do we have to wait? Bai Go did not think that there would be a big problem immediately if they continued in the current situation. It was okay to hold on for 3 to 5 years, or even 8 to 10 years. Wait for the new policy of the imperial court. Zhang Xiaobao did not talk about fish. Which policy? Yao Chong could not help but ask. A series of policies and a basket of plans. The administrative plan will be sent to each county by telegram. The next day after the announcement is made, the roar of the cannon will be heard. Then the country will be peaceful for a few years. After a few years, when another problem arises, we will solve it. I don't have the ability to solve it once and for all. Zhang Xiaobao freed a hand and pointed in the direction of Duosher, meaning to hit it. Bai Go could not help but tremble. He looked at Yao Chong, who also showed fear in his eyes. He did not know how ruthless the policy was that they needed to start a war immediately to divert the conflicts. After the war, or in the middle of the war, the Tang Empire is not in a hurry. Isn't there still a problem? Bai Go felt that war could not solve the fundamental problem of the rich becoming richer, and the poor becoming poorer and poorer. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. No, there is no problem. In the middle of the war, we will need manpower, and the kind with high income and low requirements. It is nothing more than the merger of resources, a small matter. As long as it is not necessary for the people's livelihood and land resources, it will not be chaotic. I want to make the rich richer, and then they can raise the wages of the hired workers. Xiaobao, I admit that you are good, but I don't believe that they will listen to you if you ask them to raise the wages of others, Bai Go said bluntly. Yao Chong also nodded. It is not that they will raise the wages because I ask them to. It is that even if I don't ask them to raise the wages, they will still raise the wages, and it is the kind that is very urgent and cannot be stopped. Zhang Xiaobao replied with certainty. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.